Hi.
Welcome to Fuck This Movie.
Hell yeah.
Podcast where all movies are fucked.
All movies are fucked.
All movies are fuckable.
Some gently, some a little bit rougher, but they all get it at the end of the day.
Hey, they were asking for it. So, this is another episode.
It is. We're fucking back at it.
Episode
Hell yeah.
24. Did you ever think we'd get to 24?
We really didn't think that far ahead, I suppose.
I don't think I did. No. I thought somebody would have gotten bored with it, Not me. Somebody.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
Eyes are on me.
I guess there may have been people that have gotten bored with it, but I guess it's not us. Here we are.
Just people listening.
Yeah. Fuck
I know
you
we
guys.
peaked. We peaked like 2 weeks ago, right? Three episodes ago.
520 some views
the
on
Devil's
the
episode?
Nunsploitation.
No, the devil,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of people and a lot of interest in that episode for some reason. Do I know?
You did earlier.
I have no volume, John. People think I'm like talking from outside of the hallway.
Testing.
I didn't do anything.
Oh.
That did do something.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
That's all.
Hey, everyone.
So I have a
You can hear me
theory.
better now.
Yeah.
I have a theory about that actually. For anyone wondering, the Devils and Benedetta episode is our most viewed episode on YouTube. My theory is that the Devils is pretty hard to watch, find a place to watch it, and the episode's like an hour and 50 minutes long or something.
Right.
I think people
People
are clicking
think
on it,
it's the
thinking
movie?
it's the
Thinking it's the
whole-
movie.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I get a free watch.
No, it's just some assholes.
But you have to watch it for like more than like a couple minutes to count as a view. So
Right.
people are sticking
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
We should start
You can't
doing.
blame them for that. And the reason they're sticking
Clickbait.
around is because
Yeah,
of
clickbait.
is because we are a trifecta of amazing hosts. Starting with the guy to my left here. He's the man that watched everything, Reese Amweiler.
Hell yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Everything.
And then
Every
the
single
guy to my
thing.
right, he's too old to be cool. He's
That's-
John Brown.
That's absolutely right. That's me.
So then there's me. And I've got an issue here, John,
Yeah.
because I am quite certain that I am cool, but I am quite a bit older than you.
Yeah. I mean, not quite a
Well,
bit.
age
It's quite a bit.
Well, I mean, I guess it's what, 7 years?
I don't know how old you are.
I'm turning 38.
You're turning 38.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I'm not that much older than
I
you.
don't think
then.
so.
How old do you think? How old do you think I fucking am, dude?
I
think
thought
I'm,
you were like 42, but you're like, I'm so much older than you.
I thought you were
That's why I threw out
53.
seven.
I'm 43.
Okay,
Reese
see,
is
yeah,
right.
yeah,
But still,
that's what I thought.
still, though, like 7 years, like that's just bad math.
I'm pretty sure I knew what it was, but you're the one saying that you're
I
so
think-
much older.
all right.
You're
I
fucking
think
up my math.
old is a state of mind,
I
not,
mean-
not an age.
Kind of.
Grumpy
but
old
also
man is
no.
like.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean, definitely not
yeah.
literally.
Yeah,
Tell me that when you're dealing with hip dysplasia.
yeah, that's just
fucking.
factually old.
Like-
But I do agree. I do
Mentally
agree
old.
for the most part.
Old source.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty old since I was like 20.
Yeah.
I've hated
When you
kids
just
since
when you
I was
just
a
hurt
kid.
yourself getting out of bed and
Yeah.
you know. Anyway, so what have you guys been watching?
What haven't I
I'm sure
been
there's
watching?
been a lot.
John, you want to go ahead?
No, you go ahead.
Okay.
No,
I think
well,
we-
you guys fight over it.
We'll
I
keep with
demand
the
that you
with
fight
the
to
rotation.
death.
To the
over
death.
who? Over.
I haven't been watching that
Who
much
goes first?
actually. So
I haven't been watching as much, but I have been watching a lot of worthwhile to talk about movies.
Well, I'm running anchor here because I got a bunch of shit,
Oh, good.
and I've got some stuff to say about some stuff too. So
stuff to say about stuff.
mostly just the stuff that I've been watching,
Yeah.
which is what everybody else is
Yeah.
talking about. So I'm not special. I just like to pretend that I am.
I rewatched Past Lives.
Is it your second, third?
I watched it in theaters with you, and then this is my second
okay.
time.
I watched it twice also.
Yeah, it's just so good. I was I don't know. I was just extremely connected to it this time, especially. I felt like I could have just reached out and like held hands with the main
Yeah.
characters. Like,
So I watched it, and then I watched like between the two viewings, I watched the newest season of The Morning Show on Apple TV.
with Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston and
A bunch of other
bunch of other people. But anyway, the lead actress in Past Lives is in that show, and
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and I didn't put it together until I watched one and then immediately the other.
I
So I
haven't
don't
watched
know.
any
Maybe
of
that's some
that
kind
show.
of deep-seated racism from my family's past, where like I see Asian people a certain way or something. You could probably dig into that and make me a monster very
Yeah.
easily.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
It would not be hard to make
Let's
you a
not do that because I'm a good person.
I watched for my dad's birthday. We got together, and he loves the Fast and Furious movies. So we had not watched Fast X yet, and we
Yeah.
watched that. And
Was it very fast?
It's more of a superhero movie than most superhero movies are. Like Vin Diesel does things that are
He flies.
just literally impossible. I mean, like he outruns a
But it's
nuclear
Vin fucking
explosion
Diesel,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
with his car. You know, like
Nice.
Hey, it was a fast car.
yeah.
And it had NOS.
It's the movie is just such a cartoon. I think it's also funny how every time there's a new villain in that franchise, they tell you how this is the most evil, disgusting person. This person doesn't care if they kill a baby. And then the next movie, they're like, I was wrong. I'm not a bad guy. I want to help you, Don. And it's like they're on the same
Yeah.
side.
Come
You know,
the family.
that sounded
Every single
exactly like him.
Yeah. No, in this one, he sounds more like
That's-
this. Family. It's like he's like sinking so far into this character.
How does Vin Diesel get worse with every movie?
I
And the sad thing is, no matter how bad he gets, he'll never be as bad as Paul Walker.
he
I hate to
really
shit on a dead guy, but that's true. That dude can't act. Well, I mean, especially now that he's dead. But when he was alive, also he could not act.
his acting quality has not changed.
Yeah, it didn't get better.
Uh,
I would have thought it would have, but it did not happen.
I also watched Love and Other Drugs.
That is actually one of my wife's top 5 favorite movies. It's such.
I recall you saying that. Yeah.
It's such an obscure like movie to have as one of your top 5, but she just fucking loves it.
Does she just love all the tits?
I don't know.
There's
I
like-
mean, it's not a bad
There,
movie. It's
almost
it's
every
really not
other
a bad
scene in this movie is a sex scene.
It's a little too close to home for me because it's about a bunch of pharmaceutical reps.
Yeah.
And I deal with those assholes on a day in, day out basis. And so when I sit down and watch a movie, I want to escape my reality, not jump into it, you know?
Yeah, it felt like, because it is one of the guys who wrote the script for The Big Short.
Okay.
And
tracks,
you
I
could
mean-
definitely get those vibes. And then, but it just felt like it couldn't decide if it wanted to be The Big Short or if it wanted to be a rom-com. And, you know, for a rom-com, it's kind of a weird, like, dark premise.
Well, I think it's almost, it kind of plays like a rom-com, but it also just kind of plays like a tragic romantic, like, drama, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I think it kind of straddles that line,
Yeah.
which makes it for kind of a depressing film. It's
Yeah.
not the most optimistic.
Because, like,
I
it's
mean,
definitely,
they're all
like,
fucked. Everybody's
pointing
fucked.
fingers at, like, the medical industry and stuff like that.
Well, that's, I mean,
that's like
they
the whole-
they should be doing that.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
that's correct.
it's like that in the same vein as like The Big Short, or he also wrote Bombshell. Like he's
Yeah.
doing these like darkly comedic movies that are about very prevalent and serious like political subjects that people don't talk about enough. And then, but just also throwing in like the goofiest rom com where Josh Gad jerks off to his brother's sex tape.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty fun, but I watched the Adam Sandler movie you just watched, Spaceman.
Oh yeah, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was like strangely relevant to our double feature last episode. And I think you mentioned some of it, but
Yeah.
like the funny actor playing the lead
Mm-hmm.
in like kind of a comedy drama hybrid with like some supernatural elements,
Right.
and a British female like main character. Like it's like it slides right in with Stranger Than Fiction and Eternal Sunshine. It was very
okay.
curious. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
dope.
it's pretty like wholesome.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
really, in a way, like the bit with giving the spider Nutella.
Yeah,
was pretty great.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they do a good job. I guess I was expecting it to be more alien, and it really is kind of just a giant spider.
No,
like,
it
there's,
is. It's just a giant.
There's a
fuzzy
couple of
spider.
things, like his mouth doesn't look like a spider mouth,
Yeah.
and then he's got like curly like tendrils on the side. But other than that, it's a spider.
His things, like his digits. He
Yeah,
has a couple
mandibles,
little
I don't know.
digits, yeah,
Yeah.
on his legs. But no, it was pretty heartfelt. It was pretty satisfying by the end of it.
Yeah.
So I was talking to somebody about it, and it's like, well, I don't know if it was was there really a spider? Was there a spider? Like, I mean, really, I guess you don't know. There was no real confirmation by any other characters in the movie. But
I think it's definitely the kind of movie that some people will take too literally.
yeah, and take
and then
talking about
it's
that,
like,
just enjoying.
oh, you had to go all the way across the galaxy to figure out you loved your wife. It's like, well,
Hey,
that's
spoilers.
not the point of the movie, you know?
No, and there's a little bit more in the dynamic than that, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's not that he didn't love his wife, he was just learning how to not be a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So, like, you're just an asshole. And I loved his wife, just was an asshole.
Yeah. I watched Freddy Got Fingered.
Tom Green movie.
Which
Yeah.
was like,
That's not a good movie.
you know, I knew what I was signing up for, and I got
Just
exactly.
so you know, in case you didn't catch it.
No, yeah,
I'm
I
watching
was,
it.
I was
It's not a good
aware.
movie.
I was shocked at the stuff they got Rip Torn to be involved in that movie. It was kind of wild.
Yeah, Tom Green is such an enigma.
Yeah, I was literally thinking Enigma.
Yeah, he's one of the weirdest fucking celebrities. Like, just like he's just kind of like a fucking like weirdo.
Yeah. I guess in the right time and space, the right kind of weirdo just fits.
Yeah,
You know,
I
think
could definitely
that's-
get the charm. Like, I'd say 15% of the time, I was like, I get what you're going for here.
Right.
I kind of, and then other times it just like his weird, hateful cruelness to other people just like dragged on just a little
Right.
too long,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
his screaming and like, okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty exhausting.
Calm down.
for
Pretty,
sure.
pretty over the top.
yeah. I watched Look Who's Talking.
I've been kind of like, I haven't seen that movie since I was probably fucking 9.
I think
I've
I
kinda
saw
wanted to
that
watch it
movie
lately.
enough times in my life that I've got a pretty good.
It was very forgettable. Very.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is just what it is.
the sequels don't get better.
Yeah. Hell no.
I did not expect, because I saw Dune 2 also this year, I did not expect to have seen 2 movies this year already that featured a talking fetus. Very, very curious trends in my
People
viewing.
love talking babies, man.
yeah, they do.
That shit sells.
I realized it
I
had
went and saw
sequels.
Baby Driver in the theater, and there were a lot of pissed off people.
Where's the baby?
There's no baby here. There should be a baby driving.
I realized there were sequels. I didn't realize
They
they
came
got.
out like the same time as Boss Baby, and people were really
Oh yeah, like
confused.
I
They
think
thought they were
literally
in
the
the
same
wrong
year.
theater.
Yeah. They should have done a crossover with that. Boss Baby Driver.
Alec Baldwin
Driving baby,
running people
driving
down
boss
in
baby.
an automobile.
Yeah.
He's in enough hot water.
Yeah.
I think it's wild that the movie has 2 sequels that both got all 3 stars back, with John Travolta, Kirstie Alley, and the voice of the baby,
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. All 3 of
Yeah.
the all
He
3 of the
voiced the baby?
movies.
Yeah, he voiced the baby.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, what are the budget of this stupid baby movie?
Yeah.
They get big people. But I guess, like, what else was Kirstie Alley doing?
I do
Yeah,
think
exactly.
it was.
Most of the budget required, really, you know.
It's a pretty cushy gig for John Travolta, honestly.
Yeah.
Voicing the baby because.
Or John, not John.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
For Bruce Willis voicing the baby, because I mean, he just used his own voice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it wasn't like he had to act like a baby. I mean,
Honestly,
he literally just read.
a lot
Yeah,
of
he
it,
just
a lot of it didn't even seem scripted. It seemed like very lightly, like they filmed the scene and then they just had him go like, "Hey, you're drinking coffee over there?" You know, like
Yeah.
just kind of said things that were happening in the scene. Very
Yeah.
rarely did what he was saying like interact with the plot.
Yeah.
in any
Yeah.
way.
Sure.
I mean, I suppose that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
To form
he's
his
a
baby.
baby.
What
He
else is a
doesn't-
baby?
yeah,
gonna-
he didn't know
that's
what's going
somehow
on.
intelligent enough to form these thoughts. Gonna say.
I thought that those movies were good for the time. You know, like those were good. Like 2-star comedies for that time.
The
I was
early
entertained by
90s.
them at that time. If I went back and rewatched Look Who's Talking, the trilogy now,
Yeah.
it'd probably be pretty insufferable.
yeah. I have to imagine so.
Yeah.
Talking babies just aren't fun. They ruin everything.
Baby geniuses.
Yeah, it seems really bad. Like
Yeah.
all those commercials, it's like every
The
other
E-Trade
commercial has a
baby.
talking
Yeah.
baby now.
Yeah.
It's like what they do.
Well, yeah, I think it's because like people go like, "Oh, little kid talks like adult. That's funny," and it's just like, and that's the end of the joke.
Yeah.
I saw 2 different movies in theaters this weekend. I really enjoyed both of them. The first one was Love Lies Bleeding, the new Kristen Stewart movie. With like, it's like a erotic thriller. Really, really wild, just super fun ride. It's like hard to narrow down, like to summarize the plot.
Said Kristen, who's the one writing her?
Well, she's writing.
Oh, she's writing.
She's kind of the top in the
Oh.
relationship with Katie O'Brien, who's a female bodybuilder
Okay.
in the movie and in real life.
Oh.
But and then Ed Harris
And
is
they're having sex in the movie.
yeah, it's like a
Oh,
lesbian erotic
man.
thriller.
I don't know if I can get on board with this. Something about I had a buddy back in the day who was really into like, that was like his like go-to woman was like,
Kristen Stewart.
no, like
Oh.
the bodybuilding
Oh
chick.
yeah,
Like that was his like go like he'd like special order porno mags that were like fucking bodybuilders showing their tits, and it was
Huh.
just like they don't even really have tits. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird fetish, man.
I don't necessarily get that attraction, but it is
Yeah.
it is a lesbian erotic thriller. So I guess they're not necessarily concerned about if you're attracted to them.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
very
But
true.
the movie is great. I thought it was just really fun, weird thriller, unusual, lots of just great visuals and sound design. The sound design especially really
Yeah.
stuck out. For some reason, the choice they went with is almost to portray these bodybuilders in like a grotesque form where like all of the flexing is like super close up, and then like really the Foley is like really like stuff sounds
Yeah.
like flesh like ripping and things cracking. It's
Right.
very creepy, but very well
Yeah,
done.
that's a little creepy.
And then I went to see the new Nun movie with Sydney
Ooh.
Sweeney, Immaculate.
Sweeney.
The new what movie?
Nun.
None.
This
Yeah,
like
the
just,
Nun movies continue.
Oh wait, the horror like the off of like okay.
It's a standalone movie.
I didn't know that was off of the Nun.
No, it's a standalone movie. It's not connected to anything. She is a nun. In
Oh, okay.
if you see,
Gotcha.
Nun.
What is up with you and these fucking nuns, dude? It's like
I mean, they
It's-
just fall into my lap. I mean, this movie.
Okay.
Are Sydney Sweeney? You're familiar with her, right? Euphoria.
Yes. Yeah. She's the blonde slut.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She's been blowing up here this last few months. She's been in like 4 different movies and yeah, but I thought this movie was awesome. Great. I've just been kind of annoyed lately how many like mainstream horror movies are leaning in like what feels like Christian propaganda of like the
Right.
Christians will save us, like
Right.
come get out the demons. And this felt very much the opposite, where like the church is the bad guy in this
Right.
movie, and I
So
very
the
much-
demons
I
come
mean,
and save you.
lots of
Oh, yeah.
most nun movies that I feel like I've watched that the church
Oh yeah,
becomes the bad guy
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
quickly.
The double feature we did did
Yeah.
not
They're an easy target.
smile.
The Catholic Church
upon the
especially, they're
Catholics.
pretty like super creepy and evil.
Yeah,
Oh.
I
yeah.
mean,
There's
it's pretty hard to argue with that.
supernatural elements to this movie, but it felt very believable in
Yeah.
things that happen. I really liked it. Highly recommend it. It's currently playing in Warsaw. I don't know how long that'll be because it is a
Right.
very controversial movie about the Catholic Church. But we'll see.
Yeah, not long then. Not around here.
And then the last thing I watched just yesterday was a movie from 1970 called Watermelon Man.
Watermelon Man.
I don't know if you guys
I
are
don't know
familiar
that
with
one.
this.
It's one of the few movies that gets mentioned here where there's a lot that you mentioned that I haven't seen, but very few times is there a movie that I've just flat out never heard of.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you guys would honestly both like this movie. It's directed by Melvin Van Peebles, who was one of like the first black directors to be
Right.
allowed to work
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Hollywood.
Is he related to Mario Van Peebles, the B movie extraordinaire action star?
Maybe?
No,
I don't know. What movies is he in?
nothing that I could name.
But
He's probably like, if you looked up his filmography, he's probably in like 300 movies, and
yeah.
you've never heard of any of them.
Yeah. But this movie is it's about a guy who's like this super racist, absolutely obnoxious, everybody hates him white guy who just wakes up one day and he's black. And it's like, in my opinion, surprisingly modern for a movie from the 1970s. It's very, I mean, obviously, unfortunately, it's very, very relevant.
Right. Yeah.
With a lot of the stuff that's going on, but like it gets like kind of sitcom-y goofy for a lot of it, but then it goes really dark places, and I really enjoyed it. And then it's a Criterion. I was looking at some of the special features afterwards, and they had an interview with the director, and he was saying how when he got a hold of the script, somebody else had written it, and they hadn't decided on a director yet, and so what they do in the movie is the main character is a black actor, and for the first like 15 minutes of the movie, he's in whiteface.
Yeah.
And when they were originally casting the movie, they were thinking Jack Lemmon or Alan Arkin for the lead, and then he was going to be in blackface for the last hour and 20 minutes of the movie, and the director's like, "Why would we do that?"
Yeah.
Well, even in the 70s, there were people with good sense and good taste.
Yeah. I'm very grateful I don't have to put up with the weird mixed feelings about knowing someone fun like Jack Lemmon or Alan Arkin was in a blackface for an entire movie. I think they made the much better choice, and also like it's just a really, really interesting movie. I highly recommend it.
Right on. All right. Sweet.
That's pretty much everything I've been watching.
Well, I've only got a couple things, I think. Start off with the bad movie. You know what? It could have been a good movie. It could have been an okay movie. I wouldn't say it could have been a good movie. It could have been an okay
Just about every movie could have been a good movie.
Yeah, I watched Roadhouse.
Oh.
And like halfway through, it was very different. They changed the character completely, but the character felt kind of the same as far as just like the kind of nice guy that's a badass, whatever. Some of the setup was all right. Overall, I was surprised. I thought it would be much more of a train wreck, and I was entertained for a good half of the movie. And I was satisfied with it. I was laughing. Things felt natural enough. Jake Gyllenhaal was, decent. He was super underused for sure. His ability didn't come through at all, really.
Well, we both watched Gyllenhaal movies this week.
Yeah. About halfway through, they bring in fucking Conor McGregor, and good goddamn, that was a fucking train wreck.
Wait, does he like play the Sam Elliott role?
Yeah, there is no Sam Elliott.
Oh, okay.
That's gone.
Yeah.
That's gone.
You said halfway through.
They got around that
No.
because as soon as we heard there was a remake, that's the first thing we said is who could possibly play that role, and they just removed it.
Yeah, that's
how you get around
He
it.
replaced it with Conor McGregor, and it was awful.
That would be a wild choice.
I know very little about that guy. I think I've seen bits and pieces of some documentary that was made about him that has to be undeserved. I don't think that he was, because you mentioned Molly said he was overacting. I don't know if it was overacting. I think it was just him just like, I'm Conor McGregor. Just fucking stomping around the movie set like, I'm a badass.
Well, if he act like he like does in his like real life, that would probably constitute overacting.
You're right. Yeah. No, I would. Yeah. So from that perspective,
I think he was probably just being himself.
Yeah, which is
he
defaulting.
overacts every day,
Yeah.
and he lives in Conor McGregor land.
Yeah,
He's
no,
forgotten
it
how
was-
to not act.
It was so terrible. Like the whole time, he just fucking had he just fucking arms out, chest puff, like he didn't know.
Oh, yeah, that's
that
him.
Pose,
That's him.
Just never not had that pose, and the whole movie just took a turn. Like everything felt different after that character was introduced. They wasted so much extra time on it, him being there, and it really is just for the sake of a fucking showdown at the end of the movie. But like, goddamn, like I was so far in, I'm like, you know what, this might actually be okay. And then nope, fucking nosedive. Fuck that shit, dumpster fire.
Did they
I'm
do
like,
the?
"God
Did they
damn."
do the? I used to fuck guys like you in prison
No,
line.
he would have been perfect for that, but he didn't say that.
I don't
Was he
think
that
Conor
character?
McGregor could allow himself to say that.
Was he basically that character?
Yeah, he was the tough guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was
yeah.
the he was the tough guy brought in to fuck the
Yeah.
badass up.
I bet it was in the script, and Conor McGregor was like, "I'm not saying."
Was the main villain anyone notable?
Not that I recognize. No,
Really, just a one-note cast then with
yeah,
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. Yeah, that's the
You know,
and boats. You know, there's
boats.
some boats. There's lots of boats. And
I
boats and
my
stuff.
good friend Eric Jocko was in here on Monday, and he made the comment that he was thrown off by the poster, like Jake Gyllenhaal with like the open shirt, and like he's like, it just immediately made me not want to watch it. Like
Yeah.
just seeing
Oh,
the
yeah.
poster, like right away, it's just like I liked Roadhouse, but I don't want to watch that.
Well, and so that's the thing that I didn't like about it is it like
I'm
and
curious
we've had
why
the
that threw
conversation
him off.
about Roadhouse and how
Mhm.
the
I kind of get it.
character-
I mean, that poster is very like you're trying. Like I feel like you're trying to sell to a certain. It's like, yeah, we know that a lot of dudes liked Roadhouse, and they'll probably watch it because they liked Roadhouse. But when you get those ladies in here
Yeah.
too, like we need to
Yeah,
get that
they-
female audience up.
they-
This Roadhouse needs to have a female audience.
They grimed it up quite a bit in just
Yeah.
overall, like in presentation with that poster with it being in Florida, Conor McGregor being in there. Yeah, it was just bad. They could have they almost spent. I thought they might have spent an amount of time on because it's just like his character's like, oh, he's a nice guy now, and then it's revealed that he left the UFC because he killed a guy in his final fight. And I thought maybe they'd spend some time showing some character development, but they didn't. It's just like, oh, he killed a guy, so now he's just like a nice guy.
Yeah.
And I
which
felt that they
also
could've-
him killing a guy is kind of that
Yeah.
plays right with the original.
It does, but they didn't spend any time on it in the original either. It's just that the character, I think, was a lot more interesting, because this character, was literally just, he was in the UFC, he killed a guy, he's a badass. There's nothing other than that for this dude. That's it. He's in the UFC, he killed a guy, now he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
That's literally it for this character. I mean, honestly, the best thing that so there was not one band.
Is there a doctor chick
Yes, there's a nurse.
that is the love interest?
Yes. And there was the same line, did you win the fight? Nobody ever wins a fight. They had that line.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I don't know. It could have been okay. But one thing I would say that's a positive is that instead of one band that played at the Roadhouse, it was a bunch of different bands. And there's actually some
Yeah.
really cool song choices and some pretty cool music.
See, that's another issue I had with the remake is the original was the Jeff Healey band.
Yeah.
And Jeff Healey is kind of just like this musical marvel. If you've never seen him, Google it.
Right.
This dude, he's a blind dude, and he's got I think he's dead now, but he was a blind dude, and he played the guitar like vertically on his lap. So
Lap
he
steel.
played the guitar kind of like a fucking piano or
They
something.
lap steel.
Yeah.
That's what it was. You're supposed to
Yeah.
play those on your lap.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I
it's a little
mean,
less special.
I mean, listen to his music. He's pretty special.
No, I mean, lots of blind dudes
This guy-
play really well
Yeah.
because you don't necessarily need your eyes to play.
This guy's in Roadhouse.
Yeah, that guy.
Who's is he a bad guy?
He's
Probably,
the
right?
bad guy.
I think this guy can be really good. His name is Billy Magnuson.
He's in like a lot of stuff.
He's in a lot of stuff. He was in Game Night. He played the dumb guy dating
the
the
first-
British girl in Game Night.
The first thing I saw him in was Boardwalk Empire. He was in. He played a bit in the last season of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
it was
pops
last
up a lot of
No,
places.
he was okay at what it was, but the role just wasn't.
Yeah,
He's got that.
He just wasn't much there.
He's got that look like. What'd you say his name was again?
Billy Magnuson.
Billy. He's got that look of this is a good looking guy, but also I don't trust him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a pretty punchable face.
He does play a lot of roles where
The-
he's a creep or an asshole.
The scene
or
that he
not
was
trustworthy.
introduced was a pretty fucking ridiculous scene, and I know it's a ridiculous scene to be ridiculous, but it's also just okay, this is just a little too ridiculous. He's on a boat, of course, has to be on a boat, and he's he's
That's
getting
the worst part about it. To
he's
me,
getting
is
a
the fact that
razor
there are
blade
boats.
shave on a boat
Oh yeah,
as they're going fast
is
in inclement
realistic.
weather, and then he just like fucking shave me better, servant. And it's like,
No.
okay, like I know you're trying to be cheeky here, but Jesus Christ,
Just bringing a fucking
is too
straight
much.
razor on a
yeah,
boat trip.
yeah.
I don't know. That
There's-
sounds like it was being accurate to the remake.
Yeah.
The 80 the original one was that kind of cartoonish evil
Yeah.
villain, like the villain
No, he
from.
was. Yeah, he was. Well, the
Bigstown.
sad thing too is like he wasn't even all that. He was kind of a just chump. Like it was. He wasn't really the bad guy. His dad, who was in prison, was the bad guy.
Mm.
So like, he's trying to be a bad guy and failing at it really hard the entire movie.
He's too good to be a bad guy.
No, there's some chuckles. Like there's some things that are funny. Like there's some stuff that's okay, but overall it's pretty trash. And once Conor McGregor's on screen, it's just fucking painful to watch until the final fight scene and it finally ends. But it was another thing too. Like it was a really awkward scene where they first fight because there's of course got to be a couple fights. First fight in the bar, you know, kicking shit out of each other, and main character Dalton just like walks away spontaneously, and he's like, later he's like, "Oh, I wasn't afraid of dying. I was afraid of what I would do to you." It's like, God, that's fucking cheesy. Like, yeah, it was rough. So, aside from that, the only notable thing I've watched, and I don't think I talked about this on the last episode, I think I watched it after, was Ice Pirates. Super,
you did not talk
super
about this.
cheesy, super fun 80s sci-fi comedy. Just barrel of laughs, great time, super over the top, super dorky, super, not great effects and like
In a charming way.
yeah, no, in a charming way, and like the practical stuff was, kind of rough, but in a charming way. Like robots where everybody was just in suits, like Battlestar Galactica style.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of fucking just genuine laughs and genuine performances by the people in it. Pretty decent cast too. A lot of notable people. I know I've heard of the main character. I know I've heard the dude's name. I've seen him in things.
Robert Urich.
Yeah. And chick from the '90s Addams Family was in there too, being piratey. But
Angelica Houston.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Being
Oh,
being
wow,
a
yeah.
fucking space pirate. It's just kind of out of nowhere. Ron Perlman's in there.
Oh, I forgot he's in
The
it.
black dude.
No,
I
I
don't
love
remember
Ron
his
Perlman.
name, but I know. I've
Robert D. Michaels.
Seen, yeah.
Or Michael D. Roberts.
Ron Perlman was like I've seen a million things with Ron Perlman, and it wasn't until I saw the Sons of Anarchy, like him in Sons of Anarchy, where I like really became like a Ron Perlman fan.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really saw him as somebody that could like carry a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and he has a lot of the things he's done just doesn't showcase what
Yeah.
ability he
And,
has.
and I think
No.
that's what it was. Like him as like the leader of the bikers is like
Yeah.
it's just such a fucking great.
Yeah, a
No,
perfect fit.
Like,
for
like
sure.
if you've seen the series, nobody else can play that role. Like
Right.
like it's hard to like imagine somebody else doing that role.
Yeah, if you want a good movie that's just a lot of laughs, that's pretty dorky but has plenty of like adult, like it's a movie that you could watch with your kids, and there's all kinds of innuendo that they will like kind of chuckle at but not really get, and yeah, just a fun fucking movie for
Yeah.
sure. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I never had even heard of it until last year. It kept popping up on my Facebook feed, and I finally pulled the trigger on watching it. It was well worth it. If you're an '80s guy and a sci-fi person, it's just a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Very underrated.
Yeah.
Well, I got a handful to talk about here. First off, we already hit one of my wife's favorite movies. I've finally saw her favorite, like one of her favorite movies from her childhood. We watched Kelly's Heroes together.
Clint Eastwood movie?
Clint Eastwood, Donald Sutherland. And she's always been a huge Donald Sutherland fan, and I always just thought that was like obscure. Like, what a weird actor to like
Yeah.
behold, Donald Sutherland. And then I watched Kelly's Heroes, and like I kind of get it. Like Donald Sutherland. First off, his name in the movie is Oddball. He's never referred to as anything other than Oddball.
Yeah.
But kind of a cool little movie from 1970. It's basically about a platoon in World War II. They capture this drunk German officer and interrogate him. And basically they find out that like this dude was in charge of like protecting this bank behind enemy lines that is like stationing a bunch of gold for like the next 48 hours. And so they're just doing a whole lot of nothing in their stations in the war. And so basically it turns into this like heist.
Yeah.
Where they're just like,
That's
fuck
fun.
it, let's just go, like it's the perfect crime because we
some
can
Nazi gold.
go steal the gold. All we have to do is come back across enemy lines and they can't chase us. You know,
Right.
it's like the perfect crime. And so that's kind of the whole movie. And then as they start to get into it, they realize that like, you know, the thing is protected much more well than what it was made out to. The like it turns into this whole deal.
You don't
but-
really see war heist movies all that often.
No, I mean,
So,
I can't name another one. It's, I guess
I have to-
Three Kings is kind of
Yeah,
a war.
I'd-
Actually, you know what? After watching this movie, fuck Three Kings. I always thought that was kind of a decent movie, but it's just a ripoff of Kelly's Heroes.
Or homage.
Maybe.
It's a fine line.
It is a fine line, yeah.
Then I watched. I'm kind of doing what Reese is doing. I'm going back and watching some of the Best Picture winners that I've missed. So I watched. This is an actor double feature, and Reese, you're gonna like we talked about it the other day. You're gonna have to help me with the actor's name again. Green Book and Moonlight.
The actor is Mahershala Ali.
Yeah. Basically, Moonlight is not the main character, but I do find it notable when you have an actor that is in the Best Picture winner. Like, was it like these movies were like 3 years apart or 2 years apart or something like that?
I think Green Book was 2016 and Moonlight was like 2014, maybe.
Yeah. So like, he was in like he was one of the most notable actors in the Best Picture winner 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And the thing is, his performance was really good in both.
Yeah.
I don't know that he actually. I'm sure he got some kind of nomination or something.
I think he was nominated for supporting in Moonlight.
Yeah,
I don't.
and that would be the correct designation.
He won for Green Book, but I don't remember if
He actually won for Green Book.
Yeah, I don't remember if
That
it was
makes
for
sense.
lead or supporting. Because I mean, he should be the main character.
He should,
but
but
he's not
they
really.
have ways to weasel around that.
Right.
Yeah, he won for best supporting actor.
Best supporting act. Oh my god.
Even though, like,
'Cause you know the problem with
He's
that
a-
is there was somebody that was actually really good as a supporting actor that year that got like completely fucking hosed.
yeah, because
By this
they had
guy
to
who
give it to him.
had like an hour and 40 minutes of screen time in an hour and 50-minute movie, but he's a supporting actor. That's nuts.
I mean, the other criminal thing to that is that to me, to me at least, the character, I mean, it's a true story. He's playing a real black gay man in like the 60s doing a jazz tour in the South. But he's not the main character.
Yeah.
The guy driving his car who's racist and gets cured of his racism by hanging out with a black guy. He's the main character. Like,
I guess
Jesus
I gotta show
Christ.
that
I guess I
transition.
have a very different view on that film than you do. I don't see either. I feel like there are co-main characters, and also I don't think that Viggo Mortensen's character is any more or less racist at the end of the movie than he is at the beginning. I think that he's just kind of an old school, like, like Bronx kind of guy. And
yeah, I mean, the
like-
level of racism they portray him as in the beginning of the movie is like throwing away dishes that a black person touched. Like, you don't get cured of that, you just die. Like, so no, he's not. I don't think he's like not racist into the end of the movie, but like, you're definitely supposed to be like, wow, good guy. You really did it. You helped the black guy get through the South. Like, I don't know. It's such an outdated movie. I think in like another 10 years, that movie's going to be viewed on the same level as like Crash. It's just very similar in that, like,
I've seen both films, and I think this is a better movie than Crash. I really do. I have a hard time coming up with positive things to say about Crash. Whereas like I can point to the performances here. I do think that the friendship that they form is pretty natural, and like I believe it. and it's almost like here the real problem is the character that I'm sorry, Ali
Ali, Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali. Like the problem is he plays a gay black man, but he's whiter. He's the whiter character of the two of them. I mean, like he does not act like a black person at all. I mean, he doesn't even like black. As far as I'm concerned, he's the more racist of the two characters.
I mean, I agree. The Vigo is really good in the movie too, and they do have good chemistry. So like, I agree there are good things.
I mean, without having seen the movie, it sounds like they're just side by side, and the movie's story is just that. It's both of them. It's the journey together. Well, and like.
It's Driving Miss Daisy. The movie is literally
really is Driving Miss Daisy.
It's Driving Miss Daisy with
which is another reason
bro style, racist bro style.
Yeah.
I guess it. I mean, technically, to me, I thought it was Driving Miss Daisy with more interesting characters because if you've ever seen Driving Miss Daisy, it's kind of a bummer. It's kind of like if you're sitting down to watch all the Best Picture winners, Driving Miss Daisy is not the one that you get up for, man.
Right.
Like that's
and like it's not only the same movie as Driving Miss Daisy. It's like I feel like it's going to be remembered the same way as like wow, this one like Driving Miss Daisy. The most that it's remembered for is that it won over like. It didn't win over Pulp Fiction. That was Forrest Gump. But like Driving Miss Daisy won Best Picture in a year where like some amazing films came out. And it's the same kind of thing where like
I don't remember what year that was. 93?
I just typed in Drazy instead of Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there were better things.
Driving Miss Daisy came out in 89.
89. Oh yeah. Was there something in 89 that should have won?
The nominated movies were Born on the 4th of July, Field of Dreams, My Left Foot, Dead Poet Society, and Driving Miss Daisy.
Wait, hold up. Dead Poet Society got nominated for Best Picture?
Yeah.
That was a shit year, dude. that movie's not good.
I mean, there's none of those
I challenge. So Dead Poet Society is like, that's totally like, I'll stand up on my desk to defend how bad that movie actually is. Like it is fucking atrocious, and it's one of those movies that's beloved by millions. But if you actually sit down and watch the movie, it's like, dude, there's a scene at the end where dude we all like from the Before trilogy,
Ethan Hawke like does the whole like stand up on the desk and like support of his teacher who's in an awkward situation, and it's like, dude, I just wanted to puke. like it was just like, okay. It is a very like schmaltzy, romantic, like the good old days.
I'm actually
in boys' school.
Yeah.
That's horrible to know that was like this. Somebody actually thought, hey, you know what? It's got a chance at Best Picture. Oh fuck.
I guess the one I would go for Best Picture of those five would be Born on the 4th of July.
I don't know, man.
I've seen all five of those movies.
I think it's just a bad year for film.
I don't find any of them that impressive.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that no matter which movie won Best Picture that year, we'd be talking about a movie that's probably not like a quality Best Picture winner.
So the thing I think people always bring up is that Do the Right Thing was nominated for Best Screenplay that year, and not even nominated for Best Picture. That's the movie I think people point to as like that's probably the one that should have been put up there,
right?
At least nominated for Best Picture. But no, let's nominate Field of Dreams or Driving Miss Daisy.
Yeah, they're basically the same movie.
A rough year, honestly. Even My Left Foot, like I know it's a Daniel Day-Lewis.
Old people love both of those movies.
I mean, this year is made for old people. Driving Miss Daisy, Born on the 4th of July, Dead Poet Society, Field of Dreams, and My Left Foot. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't feel like old people are gonna like Born on the 4th of July.
I mean, it's about Vietnam. Old people love war movies.
Yeah, it's not really about Vietnam though. It's more about the like post-Vietnam thing, which a lot of old people don't want to relive.
Yeah.
Like that was a pretty terrible time for people that actually were in Vietnam. I got a couple other movies I want to talk about.
Let's go.
Memories of Murder.
We didn't even talk about Moonlight.
Yeah, Moonlight coming of age story.
Also about a black gay man.
Yeah, black gay man, and just it's a coming of age story. I think it like has a couple time jumps and just kind of, I don't know. I like coming of age stories. It was a good coming of age story.
That was one like I said, I think Mahershala Ali got nominated for best supporting in that, and I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, that so there's 3 different actors that play the main character at 3 different ages, and the second and third one are really incredible. And it's like a shame. I knew none of them were going to get best lead because none of them get all together. I think they each get about 35 minutes of screen time, so it's like rough. But they all are really good.
So the cool thing about his character in this movie is he's present and the youngest iteration of the main character. So he's just a young boy, and his mom is is it crack? Yeah, crack.
Some kind of drug addict.
I'm pretty sure it's crack, but she's a crack addict, and so she's not being a good mother, and this kid is basically raising himself.
Yeah,
and so basically he gets taken in by this Mahershala Ali. And his wife is kind of like his second home, like his home away from home. Like if he actually wants a decent meal, he goes there instead of going home because his mom's just going to be like fucking junkied out on the couch and not helpful. Well, the whole kicker in this is the Mahershala Ali is actually the like city drug dealer, and so like he's actually the one selling the drugs to the kid's mom. And so it's like he's kind of got like this secondary father figure, but then as he gets older he realizes like, oh, this guy's no better than she is, he's just got money, you know. And so it's definitely a touchy subject, and I think it's a pretty good flick. Of the 2, Green Book and Moonlight, I preferred Moonlight.
Yeah for sure.
But I thought they were both good movies. I agree with your take that Green Book is probably not like best picture quality. But hey, man, Driving Miss Daisy won best picture, and it wasn't either.
I will admit, I'm being more like hypercritical of it because of it winning best picture and stuff, which is unfair because like ultimately the Oscars don't matter, and like, but it's just like.
It makes a difference. If it was a movie that nobody had ever heard of, then you'd be like, hey, how come this didn't get more fanfare, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's definitely a degree of that could happen.
The last thing I want to talk about is I saw that there was I kind of got out of the loop. Saw that there was a new Ghostbusters movie coming out this weekend, and the only Ghostbusters movies I had ever seen were Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2. Because I know they did the one with the chicks, and like everybody said it was terrible, and like I saw the trailer and really didn't need to be told that because it looked kind of terrible. John Brown, you told me it was terrible. You saw it at the theater, the one with the chicks.
No, it was definitely not as bad as people said it was.
I don't think
it's really not as bad as.
I don't think I said it's terrible. No. Everyone said it was terrible. I think it's definitely not great, but it's pretty fucking forgettable. Like there's some chuckles.
Amazing.
But like it's about as on the level as the new Roadhouse.
yeah, probably ultimately. But I just got really unfair treatment.
Yeah,
because it was doing something completely different.
Yeah, so that's the thing for me. Everybody was like, "Oh, it's fucking." I remember there being just a stance figure. Oh, it's fucking chicks. You can't do this with a bunch of chicks. And it's like, I didn't give a fuck about that. And one of them, I really enjoy the performance. A lot of the stuff she's done. But it just was poorly managed and planned, and it just didn't really like.
And there was a lot of like behind the scenes stuff with reshoots and stuff, and it really told like some of the tone.
I didn't say myself that it was complete trash. It was just not.
Does this one include any of the original characters? And
it doesn't include any original characters.
I thought there was a cameo. Maybe.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray both have cameos, but not as their original characters.
Not as their original characters.
It's completely like new universe.
So I saw that Frozen Empire was coming. Like I saw the trailer for it and saw that like basically the original cast was all like present. And then realized that the Afterlife came out and somehow it just totally escaped me, or probably I just thought it was trash and didn't interest me. So, but Afterlife is the 2021 Ghostbusters reboot with Paul Rudd, which returns all the original Ghostbusters, including the one that had been dead for over a decade, which they get to do a little bit of that, like what's the thing they did?
The
with
de-aging.
the de-aging, like the thing they didn't start at the
Yeah,
end
with
of Rogue
Carrie
One.
Fisher and Rogue One.
Yeah, it's the same thing they did there, except it was easier because he's a ghost, and so
It's
you don't
okay
have-
if he looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, you don't have to be as accurate.
Yeah.
Make him look kind of ghostly. That's cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I watched that, and then the next day we actually went to the theater and watched Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. And first off, Afterlife, I really kind of dug. I don't think it's a great movie. I think it's a fun movie, and I think that it lives up to I like that they tried to actually reboot the film series, and actually it's something they should have done years ago. Honestly, when Harold Ramis was alive, he was kind of like the main proponent of trying to get a third movie made, and it just never happened. Then he died. And so then once he dies, they're like, fuck, man, he always wanted a third movie. We should give it to him now that he's dead.
Yeah.
But they kind of rebooted it in a fun way that makes sense. And both of these movies play kind of like a family movie, which the originals kind of were.
Oh yeah, they are for sure. They're fun movies
so-
in heart. I mean,
No, they are.
Ghostbusters just
And
fun movies.
I feel like I hope they continue the series, and I'm really happy it exists. I just wish it would have existed, several years earlier when everybody could have been included.
Right.
I haven't watched either of the new ones. I got so bothered by how people were reacting to the 2016.
I totally think it was way overreacted on.
Yeah.
It wasn't that.
And it
Well,
was,
clearly I need to go watch that one. And,
I mean,
and get my own
you're not
opinion.
going to like it. I don't think you need to watch it. Keaton McKinnon is in it. If you recognize her from SNL. Well, that's the other thing. All four of the leads in that are SNL
Right.
cast members. So they even stuck to the heart of that original. There was so much when it comes down to it, just blatant sexism about that movie coming out. Everyone being so pissed off about it being women.
Yeah,
and
there
saying
was a shit ton
oh,
of that.
they're just not even caring about the heart of the franchise or staying true to the franchise or whatever. When in reality, it was set in New York. It was about Ghostbusters. It was a comedy, a goofy comedy. Then they come out with the new reboot. It's set in the country about kids. It's a dark drama.
Yeah, so
how is this?
so Ghostbusters Afterlife was from 2021, and basically it's this family moves into this old farmhouse, and basically they're the Spanglers.
Yeah.
So the mom, who is played by I can never
Carrie
remember.
Coon from Leftovers.
Yeah, from The Leftovers. It's really the only thing I've seen her in other than The Leftovers.
She's so fucking good in Leftovers.
No,
though.
she's just kind of good.
yeah, she is.
But so her and her two kids move into this place. Paul Rudd is local dude that's into Ghostbusters.
Science teacher or something, right?
Yeah, science teacher, kid science teacher, and he was really into the Ghostbusters in the 80s, like most of us. Except they're real in this movie. And so basically they find through this old farmhouse that belonged to old Grandpa Spangler that the kids find the first ghost trap, and they accidentally release a ghost from it because they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they basically, you got a 17-year-old girl and an 18-year-old boy and Paul Rudd and the mom, and they are the new Ghostbusters. It just kind of happens in this farmhouse movie. It sounds ridiculous, but it actually kind of works for the franchise.
I don't hate the premise.
Especially
if they're actually if in the universe they're acknowledging that all the Ghostbuster shit happened.
So
going from there, I dig that.
So spoilers, kind of like post-credit scene. By the way, the new Ghostbuster franchise has post-credit scenes, so definitely stay in the theater and watch the post-credit scenes. But in that Afterlife movie from 2021, there's a couple spots in the movie, and then there's from what you learn between a couple scenes in the movie and then the scenes in the credits is that what's his name, Winston, the black Ghostbuster from the original what's his, I can't remember the actor's name. Sorry.
No, now you've jinxed me. I can't.
Yeah, Black Ghostbuster. Anyway, so in this new reboot, so all the Ghostbusters appear in both movies, except for
Ernie Hudson.
Ernie Hudson, yes. So Ernie Hudson basically is this like he's become this like mogul, like he's kind of like become this like big like a business dude, and like so kind of at the end of the movie there are hints that like he is committed to taking a bunch of his money and like reinvesting into the Ghostbusters. And so the new movie, which came out in theaters this weekend and we went and saw, is basically it's back in the old firehouse in the city. It's the new characters in the old world. And it's, you know, like I don't know that it was actually a much better movie than Afterlife. I think both of them are kind of like 2.5 to 3.5 star out of 5 movies for me. I probably give them a rank up just because of they capture a little of what I was
Nostalgia,
looking for.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's all I wanted was a little bit of nostalgia and to bring that world back.
And that's then that right
they did
there
it.
is probably why there is such backlash for the other reboot, that it didn't hit the nostalgia. You know,
But see,
that's what people wanted. People
That's what people
are so
say.
obsessed with
And
nostalgia.
when in reality, like, you know, the movie has the Ghostbusters, it has
No,
the nods, it has the quotes, it has
yeah.
Slimer.
Right.
And then that, like I said, people like instantly got fucking hyped for the
Right.
new Paul Rudd one, even though you watched the trailer and you wouldn't even, besides like the fucking logo and they say Ghostbusters, would not guess it's in the same universe as the original 2 movies. It's so polar opposite of those vibes. It's like the mystical, like, wow, Ghostbusters.
My favorite
Like-
part about both movies, like, because I watched them literally, like, it wasn't a double feature, it was back to back. I watched one night and one the next. Basically, I watched a 1:00 matinee the next day, and basically, Bill Murray in both movies is just like, "Hey, I'm here to do a cameo," you know. And it's like in this newest movie, he shows up in like sunglasses, and it's like sunny out, but like they're indoors, and like he just shows up in sunglasses, and like goes over to a spot in the wall in the old firehouse, and like kind of hits it with his hand, and like a little like kind of trapdoor little thing opens up, and he pulls out a fifth of whiskey that he had hidden, like that he remembered. Like he just immediately walked into the old station and just knew where his hiding spot was, and just started drinking. And it's funny because he contributes almost nothing on purpose to these movies, because his character in the original movies contributed almost nothing really to the project.
Yeah.
And it's funny that the actual actor is kind of playing that same role by just not really contributing very much to these remakes, even though he's in them for an amount of time.
I like what you're talking about. I think is true, Reese, and I agree with you that those things were there, but that's like nuanced nostalgia, and like people aren't nuanced. Like people don't get new, especially at that in the last like so many years. Like when that movie was made, there were so many reboots just flying around everywhere.
Yeah.
And like people want fucking full on uncut member berries, man. They want just the same shit regurgitated over and over. Yeah. They don't want anything that, like, even though it is, I do agree with you that those are pretty important things to keep true to the franchise, and that should be enough for anybody that gives a shit about the franchise. That's not what people wanted, and I think that was. And
people
of
want
course,
nostalgia.
there is like a bunch of overreaction.
People want nostalgia
to that shift because they want things to feel the same, feel comfy. I was only annoyed that it was a reboot just because I'm just not a fan of reboots, and where I would have wanted that.
You're talking about the one with the chicks?
Yeah, the chicks. Like if they would have, I would have liked it a lot more if they would have just not rebooted and used those chicks and continued the story. And like, hey, they found.
Which is weird because there were some things in the movie. Huh?
Which is what the other movies did.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's where they won out. Like,
but
honestly.
they did some things in the one where they like implied that it kind of was like the Ghostbusters maybe had existed. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they made it really obscure where they didn't need to.
Yeah.
I think that they could have done better if they would have just leaned into that, and maybe it would have not gotten that stupid knee-jerk reaction that it got. But yeah, it's way better than it didn't deserve the reaction it got. It's fine. It's not great.
And like I'll agree, it's not nearly as funny as it should be because it's got Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, I can't remember the other two's
Yeah.
name, but like they're funny people, and they don't get to be as funny as they really are.
I
like
think-
none of the people in the
So
movie.
it's just bad writing.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot
Like
of it's
I
bad
really
writing.
like they could have really cashed in on the goofiness, but like
No.
Kate McKinnon is like,
Well, they spent
know.
a lot of time they spent a lot of the goofiness, and they spent a lot of time on them fucking like drooling over what's his name, Hemsworth. That was the fucking
he plays like a
secretary.
bimbo secretary,
plays
which is
a-
funny. I thought in the movie.
No, it is funny,
But,
but like
so having not
again,
seen
that's just driving like leaning that far into that.
Yeah,
Like you're choosing your audience. It's pretty
Yeah.
much like they chose their audience,
Yeah.
and then they got a backlash for that choice, and it just left kind of a bad taste in everybody's mouth, probably.
yeah.
And I feel like they could have like, I don't know, just it could have been written a little bit different. It could have been a little bit better, but
I definitely need to see the one with the chicks.
I would- yeah, go
I,
ahead
I
and
will
watch
watch
it. It's
that.
not-
I'll
it's
try to
not
watch it
terrible
before
by
the
any
next
means.
episode.
There's plenty
I
of fun
feel
stuff
I feel
in
like
it.
they lost out by not capitalizing on that nostalgia that the newest two movies did.
they should have just been like, oh
I'll
shit,
tell you what, John.
we found a Ghostbusters place,
Yeah.
and like now we're gonna
Well, like,
continue.
I
on. That's
think-
all they had to do.
What goes? That one was like I think 2016, maybe a
I
little
think
early,
so.
2015.
Yeah, somewhere around.
And
there.
I think
So-
really in like the last 5 years, Hollywood has gotten the idea, like figured out that they don't have to be like subtle or around the corner with their nostalgia. They really
Yeah.
can just throw it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
you like Jurassic Park? What if we brought back the original trilogy? And people go, fuck yeah!
Yeah, oh yeah,
You know,
for sure.
It's like,
so
And they've also started to learn that they don't have to reboot; they can just sequel.
yeah,
Yeah,
I do. I think that's been really for the positive stuff.
Yeah,
like,
oh, yeah.
I got to tell you,
Halloween.
John, when I watched Afterlife the night before seeing Frozen Empire, so the 2020 movie Afterlife. Small spoiler here: the villain in Ghostbusters Afterlife is Gozer,
Yeah,
and it's just like there's just something. It's just like we're here.
Yeah.
We're right
No,
back
that's-
where like this is where we're supposed to be.
That's cool, and they could have just done that with the other fucking movie, and they could have there's a wasted film in there, and it's frustrating because like what those are just sequels,
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and like they should have just had that in mind when they made the last one, but I just kind of wasted.
Yeah, and the
everybody's time.
Gozer angle is such a good one too because it's supposed to be a thing that comes around every so many
Yeah,
years, and
right,
like
right.
here it's been a million years since they made that movie.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
yeah,
I
it's just
totally.
good
You
recurring
should.
of
You
the-
should absolutely watch the one with the chicks.
Yeah, and you guys should totally watch Ghostbusters Afterlife
Yeah, I've
and
been meaning to,
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
I had no idea
yeah,
they were going to
I'm
keep it
most
going.
likely going to watch Afterlife like really soon, and then hopefully go see the new one with my parents in theaters.
Yeah, and just so you know, this is like these movies aren't Citizen Kane.
No, I'm not expecting
Yeah.
good movies. I'm just hoping for fun.
But, like,
Yeah,
but
that's what
man,
they're supposed to
like,
be. They're supposed to just be
for
fun.
for like good old fashioned family affairs, like really good shit.
Yeah.
Really impressed. So anyway, enough about ghosts, enough about Kelly's Heroes and all that jazz. We need to talk about
Some depressing shit.
Hell yeah!
we need to
brother.
talk about some hurt.
We're talking about fun. Yeah, let's just talk about hurt. All the hurt, the
the,
hurting
the,
hurt.
the most hopeful ending of the three of these. Just getting spoilers right away. The most hopeful ending of the three of these is the main character dying and going to heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a little optimistic about that last part.
Well, in the universe of the character.
Oh.
So I don't know how.
Are we talking about Mr. Merrick?
No, I was talking about Watership Down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Merrick, he just dies.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, I
that's
mean,
reality. So we know he
spoilers.
doesn't go to
Yeah,
heaven.
yeah. Well, Watership, they at least like have their like new home, don't they?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they have their
So,
new
like,
home. He grows old. He gets
Yeah.
to fuck a bunch, and then he
Yeah.
dies and goes to heaven.
I got rabbits in my
I mean,
yard. I got to tell you, those
hey,
things die
man,
every day.
like, I actually thought that ending was. I really dug it because it's just simple. Like, what the fuck else is there? Like,
Yeah.
hey, you did it, buddy. You
Yeah,
did it.
he
Like,
got
just
he did exactly
fucking go
what he
to
wanted to
sleep.
do, and
Like,
then he
all
got
right,
to
cool. I'm
grow
gonna go to
old.
sleep now.
Yeah,
Like, you were a fucking legend. Take a nap.
yeah.
Yeah, I was. See, yeah, that was Watership had the only
Kind
like,
of bullshit.
good
He didn't get to
ending.
enjoy the new paradise with everybody else.
He did.
He
He
did.
He
that was like a
grew.
flash forward because
Yeah.
it
Well, that
showed
was
he had a
a-
bunch
that
of
was a-
kids.
Yeah, he populated the fuck out of that.
Yeah, he had like
Well, I mean,
gray
that
hair.
That was just like 20 minutes ago, though. Have you like? that's
how long do you
rabbits
think
work.
rabbits live?
No, I just remember a Snapple cap once where it was like in 1942 they brought 50 rabbits to Australia, and 5 years later the population of rabbits in Australia was like 55 million.
Yeah,
It's just like, all right,
That was a
so
big
like
bottle cap.
rabbits, like so it was at that point when it's like, we were fucking like rabbits.
Yeah.
I finally understood
Well, and
where
so
that came from.
the opening
Yeah.
scene of Watership Down, when it's all like super like, you know,
Was there a humpy
super
rabbit?
illustrative. Well, no, and the god was like, and it was talking about the creation of the universe,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
the god created the universe and made them all the same. But the rabbits just like fucked a bunch and overpopulated and left nobody with any food. Like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you get. Now you get fucking predators to come murder you because
Yeah.
you fuck too much. Fair enough.
So the 3 movies we're going to be talking about today that were all my pick, we have, in order of our viewing, The Elephant Man from 1980, directed by David Lynch.
Weirdest fucking dude on the planet.
Yeah. If you want to watch before we spoil any of these, I'm going to say where they all are. Elephant Man is streaming on Amazon Prime. Then we watched Watership Down. Right? No,
Yeah.
it was last.
No, we did 1984 last.
Yeah, okay. Watership Down, 1978, is currently streaming on Max. And 1984, released in 1984, is appropriately streaming on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brother Bezos is watching us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they were. I had never seen The Elephant Man or Watership Down. Actually, I hadn't seen any of them.
Yeah.
I hadn't. No, I don't think so at all. I had an inkling that I thought I had seen 1984, but I never. It was just one of those things I never got around to. But
I'm
yeah,
sure
they-
you've seen like some adaptation of 1984. There's probably a dozen of them.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things that are. I don't know how many there actually are. I mean, there's a lot of things that
Or
are
like,
essentially
yeah, like
1984.
Equilibrium. Is that the Christian Bale
Well, so
one?
Equilibrium is actually kind of more Fahrenheit 451.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
yeah.
the thing. A lot of the films that are produced in that ilk are like blends of a
Yeah.
bunch of the dystopian books
Mhm.
together. So
Sorry, I had to step out for a minute, but I heard Fahrenheit 451
Yeah.
and Equilibrium, which I assume you're talking about the
Yeah.
Christian Bale
the
movie.
Christian Bale
Yeah.
movie, and that 100% reads Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always thought. I actually think that
No, it
you,
is.
You can make
It
the
is.
argument that Equilibrium is the best adaptation that they've ever made of Fahrenheit 451.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
actually true.
I think
Yeah,
so.
because there was one a couple years ago that was like an HBO
it was.
thing. It was fine.
I liked parts of what I liked. Some of the things they used in the modern world
Yeah.
felt very like if they could imagine it when
Mm.
Bradbury wrote that book.
Mhm.
Like it's very true to form,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but it didn't hold up exactly. But, yeah,
Equilibrium is definitely
was-
more of a futuristic, like it's a little more all in on like the sci-fi element
it's,
of
it's
the future.
it's very futuristic.
Yeah.
But the vibe feels very
Yeah.
much
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
I've said it before with Eyes Wide Shut. It's weird. I don't know why. Every time I watch that movie, I just get the vibe of Catcher in the Rye. If you've ever read Catcher in the Rye, like something about that movie, even though the
Right.
story's like completely kind of different,
Right.
I kind of get a very Catcher in the Rye vibe
Right.
when I watch
Mhm.
that film.
Yeah.
I was just saying to Reese that a lot of the time that there's a lot of these dystopian movies that have been made, and a lot of them like blend elements and take pieces, parts. But Equilibrium is very much 451 forward for sure. There's probably a few things you could, say this was kind of from
Yeah.
84.
It's
or
Fahrenheit
something else.
451 with a superhero. Is
Yeah.
basically what it is,
Well,
because
what's-
Christian Bale's character is Superman.
Well, so the thing
He's
is
almost
though,
like a Judge Dredd.
well, yeah, it's a Judge
He never
Dredd.
gets hit. He never misses.
Well,
like
so
he's that guy.
What I love about that movie, though, is it wasn't just like he's just a badass. They create a science and a methodology to what he's doing.
Yeah,
they
he's,
create
like,
an art
studied
form.
in
Yeah, they
like a martial
create
art.
a form of like gun martial arts essentially, and
Yeah.
he's just like the best at that. It's
Yeah.
not like he's naturally just like I'm gonna walk in the room. He's not Conor fucking McGregor. He's like studied and trained.
My
He's
favorite
the
part about
best.
that movie
He's
actually
fucking,
is
Bruce Lee, Jet Li type shit.
once he starts to feel things, which is super not legal in this new society that he lives in. Once he starts to feel things, the little like tiny little mannerisms that he uses to pretend that he's not feeling things, and
Right.
like the conversations where like I remember there was once he comes and he's like, This dude comes in, he's like, "You rearrange your desk. Did you not like the way it was before?" And he's like, "I had no feelings about it. I was just trying to optimize."
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
just like little things like that. It's like the most.
No,
like,
he did a really good job in that role.
Yeah.
I fucking love that dude. But yeah, so yeah, 1984. We were wondering if there were any other iterations of 84 as a film, and I can't think of any. I don't
Yeah,
think there
I'm
were.
kind of surprised. I feel like
you could do it today. You know, like
You could do it very
easily, and
you
it's
could
set
do
in
it
an
super
Amazon
well.
warehouse.
Yeah, no, you could do it super
Sitting at
super
Amazon.
well today. And
I drive to Fort Wayne so often, and every time I see that Amazon warehouse with a giant 50-foot smile on the front,
Right.
I just think I think that's the one thing stuff like 1984 got wrong, is that they would try and keep us under control by misery. It's no, it's so much darker than that.
so
They have a
that's the-
smile.
So that's the thing.
As their fucking logo.
As I was watching that, and
I
it's
feel
been
like
a while
Jason
since,
Bateman would be in that movie you're
It's
describing.
been a while since I've read 1984, but I don't necessarily remember it being so fucking industrially destitute and oppressively bleak.
Yeah,
I remember all the things, but I don't remember it just being so poverty stricken and all that. I don't necessarily remember that vibe from the book at all, or maybe I was just focusing on the rest of the elements of the writing. but
those
I don't
vibes.
think that is necessary in the telling of the story, because as I say all the time and have since I've read 1984 and since the fucking Two Towers fell, we've been living in 1984 ever since then.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know.
and
I think they modernized it for that time with
Yeah.
the very Soviet Russia
yeah.
look to things.
he was not shy about admitting that that book was written about his own time.
Yeah.
Not it's a
Right.
book written about the future that was really about his own time.
Right.
He's been very
Yeah.
forthcoming about that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you could adapt that to many modern tellings, and there have been tellings that are essentially it, but not exactly it.
Yeah, another one that
Touching on
pops
the
up here on Letterbox was Brazil, which makes total sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah. Has very much those vibes in a very different aesthetic.
It looks
but-
like there was a adaptation in 1954 starring Peter Cushing.
Okay.
It looks actually pretty interesting.
Huh, I have to
Black
watch
and
that.
white. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked we haven't gotten an HBO miniseries or something.
Yeah.
That's
I think that it would
1984.
be worth it, but that's the thing. Man, it's the most on the nose dystopian that's been written of its time. It and Fahrenheit 451 are definitely it. I think that if people really got 1984, it'd be the more inflammatory of them. But
Yeah.
I don't think people really get it. They don't see the lines that exist in the world now
Yeah.
enough. So because the world is actually, I always say the world is 1984. The world is actually a perfect blend of 1984 and Fahrenheit 451, honestly, because the modern powers that be use the techniques of Fahrenheit 451, where it's constant entertainment, constant distraction, to fucking make you not understand that all information is being manipulated,
Yeah.
and you're psychologically being manipulated to feel this or feel that or not feel this or not feel that. So yeah, the modern world is like these two things married perfectly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Here, I guess we're talking about them kind of in just
Yeah.
Loosey-goose
Let's
order.
Pick an order here.
But the letterbox description of 1984 is George Orwell's novel of a totalitarian future society in which a man whose daily work is rewriting history tries to rebel by falling in love. And the tagline is George Orwell's terrifying vision comes to the screen.
It's lazy.
Yeah,
That's pretty lazy. He's got a lot of them.
This movie's about a book.
He's got a lot of books that have come to the screen.
Yeah.
here we. You just want all of them? All.
Yeah, just run them down here.
Elephant Man. A Victorian surgeon rescues a heavily disfigured man being mistreated by his owner as a sideshow freak. Behind his monstrous facade, there's revealed a person of great intelligence and sensitivity. based on the true story of Joseph Merrick, called John Merrick in the film, a severely disformed man in 19th century London. And the tagline is, just a quote from the movie, "I am not an animal. I am a human being. I am a man."
He was.
And then Watership Down is, when the warren belonging to a community of rabbits is threatened, a brave group led by Fiver, Bigwig, Blackberry, and Hazel leave their homeland in search of a safe new haven. And the tagline is, all the world will be your enemy, prince with 1,000 enemies, and when they catch you, they will kill you. But first, they must catch you, which again is just
a quote from the movie. Yeah.
That's not a tagline.
An odd,
It's like four
yeah, that's what they have
lines.
listed as the tagline.
Yeah.
It's very odd choice as like a promotional. I mean, it's intriguing, I guess, but still very odd choice in my opinion. Yeah, I just
That's like that is a tagline. Like, what are we doing?
that's gonna take up the whole poster.
It's like it was the tagline for Lincoln like 4 scores and 7 years ago.
The
Our
last
fathers
line
brought
of that
forth on
would
this
have been the
continent a new
tagline.
nation conceived with liberty.
Everyone will want to kill you, but first they must catch you. Like that'd be
that's a
be
pretty good tagline,
that'd be
honestly.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's like 100 horror movies that could be the tagline.
Yeah,
for.
for sure. But this one has rabbits.
It is pretty much a horror movie,
Yeah.
honestly. So yeah, I was going to pick, I think I said last week, but I was going to pick Watership Down and 1984 as a double feature because they're both John Hurt movies and I hadn't seen either of them. But I've been wanting to see both of them for a long time. And then at the very last moment, last episode, you're both like, oh, I've never seen The Elephant Man. And it's like, well, fuck it.
All right,
John
here we go.
Hurt,
Here we
triple
go.
feature, here we go.
Yeah.
And like, they're just all fucking amazing movies, I think.
Yeah, and they very much were. The Elephant Man was fucking I think Dustin said it very well. It's the least David Lynchy movie that I've ever.
It is the least David
Yeah.
Lynch movie of all the David Lynch movies.
Yeah. Maybe he was just like, I got to take this serious
Yeah.
Yeah.
somehow for some reason. I got to take this one serious.
And I also want to point out for the Elephant Man, I think that this is like this triple feature was all about hurt love. I want to give a little shout out to Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, yeah.
I think this is the best non-Hannibal Lecter role I've ever seen him in.
Yeah.
He's
like I
good.
can't think of a role where he didn't play Hannibal Lecter that was better than this.
So I don't know if it's better than this, but I really did like it. There was the name's going to escape me now, but I found it on Shudder. It's a movie where he plays a ventriloquist that just like mentally breaks and starts murdering motherfuckers.
I haven't seen that, but
is this called Magic?
Yes, Magic. Yeah,
From
he's
1978.
really killer performance there.
Okay, I'm gonna put that on my.
Yeah, but no, yeah,
That's on Shudder. I think
every-
I tried looking for that a while ago and I couldn't find it
It
anymore.
was on Shudder. I don't know if it still
I gotta
is.
watch that too.
But no, you always got to give a shout
Yeah,
out. To
that might
Anthony
be a
Hopkins,
Friday
man.
thing,
Like,
guys.
That guy's fantastic, dude. He's fantastic. And he
I
was
mean,
fantastic here.
he's done so much. Another shout out I do for Anthony Hopkins is a movie from just 2020 called The Father. It was like one of the most like terrifying depictions of like does he have like a
You're gonna say a priest or a nun?
no he's just he's just a dad, a father
okay.
going through the mental illness as an old person.
Oh, Alzheimer's.
Yeah, going through like Alzheimer's, and it's like the most
It's a terrible
like
disease.
almost like a POV, which is shocking because like this is, if you have this disease, I don't think you have the capabilities of making a movie, but it felt like POV you have Alzheimer's, and it gets to like a kind of terrifying places, but it's Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Colman plays his daughter. That movie is fantastic if you want to hunt that one down. But no, you thought like his role in this was better than like his role as Odin in the Thor trilogy?
Anyway,
Oh, that's so sad he did that.
I mean, he's a good choice for Odin.
No, he is, but it's just like, oh, you had to do that,
he's
Mr.
kind
Hopkins. Like,
he's kind of a horror.
He does. I mean, he's in one of the Transformers movies.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a
okay,
horror.
That's also.
He narrated
just
the
a-
Jim Carrey Grinch movie.
He's perfect for go get your dad. He's perfect for the dad that you go get.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he is a really fantastic actor,
Yeah.
and he is great in this.
No, very, very good. He plays real well in the
Yeah.
interactions between the two.
And I did
are
say
great.
I think it's his best non-Hannibal Lecter
Yeah.
role because
I mean, it's Hannibal Lecter. Come on.
Hannibal Lecter is.
Yeah.
I think it's probably one of the best, like, top 5 characters ever created in film. I mean, he kills it. Absolutely kills it.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen Manhunter, which I hear that. Who's the guy from
Jeremy
Secession?
No, not Jeremy Irons.
It's a guy from Secession. Is the
something Irons, isn't it?
No. It's a guy who's the lead in Secession.
He's the dad in Succession.
Yeah, he's the dad in Secession, but he was in the Manhunter, and I've heard that I've never seen the film, but I've heard that
Brian Cox.
Yeah, I've heard his take on Lecter is also one of the greatest performances of all time, and it's a completely different take than what Anthony Hopkins did, but it's also one of the greatest performances. So I've always had that on my watch list because I've been curious about that. So.
Yeah, I've also been curious. I don't know. It must be something like the Joker. You know, these characters that just inspire like really, really good performances.
Yeah.
No, it is, and it's crazy because I'll never forget when I was a kid in 1991. I saw Batman in the theater, and I thought I remember being a kid thinking Jack Nicholson is the Joker. Nobody could ever play the Joker again. I thought that in my mind as a kid.
Yeah.
And like I thought that, like, yeah, maybe like later on, like they'll remake it, but nobody will ever be a better Joker than Jack Nicholson. And like, I mean, maybe he's third.
Well, I think from the Joker, they're just different. They're very different.
That's the
They're
really
very
fantastic thing.
different
Is like the Jokers we've gotten, the good Jokers especially.
Yeah. There's one that
The problem is
they
those
can
Tim,
fuck off.
They're so unique.
those Tim
They're their
Burton
own
films don't
thing.
hold up well. They're pretty rough.
I think they're fine. I think they are exactly what they are. They are fucking super campy. They are fun. I remember watching.
They didn't feel that
movie.
way when
Well,
I
no,
saw them in 1991.
well, yeah, when you're a kid, they're fucking big and cool. I just rewatched it not that long ago, and I love the gothic fucking atmosphere. I love a lot of the vibe. I love the set design. I really like it still. I mean, what doesn't hold up is like watching fucking Michael Keaton in a fight scene. That's because he doesn't fight at all. Like he throws a punch and maybe a kick, and mostly he just kind of moves around. You know, like
that wasn't Michael Keaton. That was his stunt double.
well, that's the thing. I kind of think it was because he wasn't doing
couldn't afford a
anything.
stunt double.
Nope. It was his stunt double not doing anything.
Well, then he fucking sucked too. But no, the rest of it, the atmosphere, the environment of the movie, I think held up really well.
Yeah, I think
Some of it doesn't.
the Keaton or the Burton, same thing, but Batmans are fun, like goofy superhero movies. But I think anytime I hear someone say those are the best Batman movies, I feel like, oh, okay, you're just clearly blinded by nostalgia.
Yeah.
'Cause,
No,
like,
I love Jack Nicholson's performance in that.
Yeah.
I think that's fucking fantastic.
I think the best
but-
Batman movie is Birdman.
Yeah. Jack Nicholson's also just he's just a house. I just love that guy to death anyway.
Yeah.
But no, the Jokers were all very different. They portrayed different eras of, because that's the thing too with those characters. They come from different eras and they all are expressed very differently in those different eras. So yeah, other than the Jared Leto Joker, that could just fuck off and die.
Yeah.
I hated that so much.
The-
I hated a
I know
Joker
we're
with no class.
We're like so off topic,
Yeah.
but like
That's what I hated.
the thing that made me hate his performance the most is there's the one shot in that movie that's based directly off a very famous comic panel with him in the tux and Harley in like the very classic Harley costume. It's for like 2 seconds of the movie. It's like you just showed us the kind of Joker we all want to see.
No, but
and
no,
then
you
just
had to,
threw it away.
got to give him a bunch of face tattoos
Yeah.
in the grill, like
He
a
says
fucking
damaged
asshole.
across his
God.
forehead.
You just hate it because he has face tattoos.
I hate it because it was classless, dude. It's just like grimy, dirty, fucking pop culture bullshit. Like Joker's a timeless character, and they dated the fuck out of him.
A
for that
very
movie.
hot topic Joker.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
That was a hot topic,
Hot
Joker.
Topic
It was
Joker.
fucking
Yeah, that's
pretty
terrible.
good.
Terrible to
yeah.
do that to that
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Fucking asinine. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, Elephant Man.
And I just want to take
Speaking of
this time
disfigured
to also say that Zack Snyder's not good.
No.
No.
Not that he did that Jared Leto Joker.
No,
but
but he did do the remake of the movie with all the guys that had a random 35-minute like ending Like
Which remake are you talking about?
the what's all
Dawn
not
of
the
the Dead?
Avengers, but the
Oh, Justice League.
Justice League.
Oh yeah, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
He
That's
did
literally
his
4
own cut
hours
of
long.
he did his own cut, and the last hour is literally the Joker
Yeah,
randomly meeting.
that's right. Yes.
Yeah, it's just randomly they put like a like 45 minutes of the Joker and what's going on with him at the end of the movie, completely irrelevant
Yeah.
to the original cut or anything relevant at all in the actual like
Yeah.
story like that's involved with this film.
Yeah.
But it just because I just thought Jared Leto was like a one-time deal
Mhm.
in what was a really really bad superhero movie.
Oh yeah.
And-
No, yeah.
It's like the
but then they
worst.
brought him back for what was supposed to be a better version of what was originally a really, really bad superhero movie. And then we just got a longer cut of a
See,
really
yeah,
bad superhero movie that just
I-
makes a
I will
4-hour bad superhero.
definitely second that Zack Snyder is a bad director. I think it's wild because I get it. The Joss Whedon Justice League was not good. And then we got the 4-hour Zack Snyder version.
Yeah.
And then people said, "Well, I thought it was pretty good because it wasn't bad the same way that Joss Whedon's was bad.
Oh, it was
bad
pretty bad
in a completely different way, and
Yeah.
people somehow mistook that as being good. But
yeah.
I don't think either version of that movie is good. They're both very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same, except he just tacked on
Longer. Yeah.
like an extra movie at the
Yeah.
end.
Well, and like apparently what was he wanted to do, because there are some like deserty interworld dream sequences like that in the Batman versus Superman movie, which is also terrible. Zack
Yeah.
Snyder wanted he wanted to do the Batman versus Superman, then Justice League, and then a third movie that was Superman goes bad, and it is like an apocalyptic scenario, and they have to send the Flash back in time to stop it. And he didn't get to do that movie, so he just shoved a bunch of the stuff he
Of the
directed
things that he
into the Zack Snyder Justice League. And
Yeah.
yeah.
it's just hot garbage.
It's pretty garbagey. Yeah.
Anyway, Elephant
Elephant Man. The one thing that cracked me up about the Elephant Man the most, and unfortunately I was pretty fucking sleepy when we watched this movie, so my recollections aren't great. But the way what they said caused his deformation
Yeah.
cracked me up. Because I'm pretty sure in the
It's
movie
it's like right at the
he
beginning
was-
they talk about an elephant trampling and a
Yeah,
rape
they
rape
were-
of some sort.
they
Yeah.
were the elephant trampled his mother while he was in the womb, and he came out like that. And it's like, no, he would just come out dead. Like, that's not.
felt
See, that to
very-
me is the most David Lynch part of the movie.
I think that is it. Yeah, that's the David Lynch part.
Like, I feel like that wasn't in the
Well, I
original
guess-
script, and David Lynch was like, you know what, we need an elephant
I don't
trampling
know.
here.
So was that said in the?
the true story. No, I think that's really what people said as his origin. Like,
Yeah.
his
Well,
mother
no.
trampled
That's,
by
if it
elephants.
was in the circus or wherever
Yeah.
he was, if that was said in the circus, it's a very
It
it's
was
a very
yeah.
appropriate line for the circus. So, but it's
No, that
hilarious.
wasn't presented by Anthony Hopkins.
I
in
can
the
just
medical
just
study.
imagine fucking some kid in fucking 1910 or 1880,
Yeah,
whenever the
late
fuck-
1800s. I
late
think.
1800s, just like,
Well-
oh my god,
By the way, I always go whenever
you hear that, Ma?
when I start to do research for these. The first thing I do is go back and see. I've said before on here that I used to watch like Siskel and Ebert in the morning, like very early morning or late night, depending on how late you stayed up. When I was a kid, and that's when I first got into film. And I always like to go back and see Roger Ebert's reviews on some of these older films that we go back and revisit. He hated The Elephant Man.
Really?
Oh my god! Like
Wow.
he thrashed the movie, fucking annihilated it. And his whole issue was with the John Merrick character, and where they kind of like make him out to be this like courageous figure, and he's just like he was born with an anomaly that's really unfortunate, and he did what anybody would have done if born with such an anomaly. Is he made the best of it. That's not heroic. That's just doing what you have to do with what the cards you've been given. Like, just because you were dealt a bad hand and you didn't end up in like the worst situation means that like you're courageous. That didn't
I
make
don't
any
feel
sense.
like the movie is portraying him as like extra courageous.
Yeah, and
Did
like
you feel like
that's
No,
not my take. That was just his take.
And-
I do agree with that as a general statement. Personally, I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of things
Like
that people do that are
wow,
And-
look at that
and I
kid,
think-
that courageous person fighting cancer.
I think
Like,
that
well,
Roger-
they're trying to survive.
yeah, they're just
exactly-
doing what they have to.
And what I took is, I think Roger Ebert was also, I think he probably does research,
Yeah.
especially for historical things before he goes into the movie. And I think that so the real character, his name wasn't John Merrick, it was
Joseph.
Merrick. The evidence points to the fact that his actual death was a suicide. And
It kind of implies that in the movie. He
Yeah.
says that he knows if he
Yeah.
lays down, he's going to die, and then he just
Right.
lays down and goes to
yeah,
sleep.
but the
Yeah.
fact that they kind of broach that without actually,
right.
they kind of avoid it,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that plays into it, but I just thought it was interesting.
No, it is
It is.
interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily get that vibe that they were portraying him as courageous. I thought it was just really, hey, here's this fucking anomaly of a human scenario, and like
Yeah.
let's just watch it play out a little bit and see where it goes. But I do agree with that.
I will
take
say
on
this movie
something
grabbed me
overall.
from one of the first the scene where Anthony Hopkins first sees him
Mm-hmm.
and his reaction, where it's just a single shot on Anthony Hopkins' face, and you got like a tear. Whether or not like he had assistance with that, I don't know. But it's not really the tear; it's just the look of shock in his face, like that. Like I saw that, I'm just like, this is one of the like immediately. I was just like, this is one of the best Anthony Hopkins performances I've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt what he was feeling at that point.
Yeah. I think it's just a really I thought about this earlier because I've been complaining so much about biopics. I think I have to put this up on my list of actually like good
Right.
biopics that I
Yeah.
like and would rewatch.
No, it's a very somber film, and it's like, it's not not a whole lot of excitement, but there's a lot of humanity here, and if you
Yeah.
want that kind of experience in film, this is definitely a good place to find it. The atmosphere is really fantastic. It being in black and white was super appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Really made it feel true and feel genuine.
Yeah.
So.
It didn't feel like gimmicky at all with the black and white.
There was very little. Yeah, I definitely didn't feel
Yeah.
any kind of gimmick to it whatsoever.
And John Hurt, I think it's kind of funny. Of the 3 movies we watched, you only see John Hurt's face in one of them.
Yeah.
Even though he's the main character in all 3. And like, you would not be able to, if I like did not tell you it was John Hurt. And
Yeah, I
you
think
didn't read the
because
credits,
of
you would not be able
the
to guess it.
prosthetics, I think
Yeah.
it was his voice was coming through a lot different. too.
Yeah,
You couldn't
yeah.
even hear the John Hurt per
Mhm.
se, but still very solid performance with all those things in mind.
Yeah,
But of course, it's John Hurt, so
I mean,
he's fucking
Absolute
was
legend, John
fucking
Hurt.
gangster for sure.
should we talk about? I know we're might end up having to speed through these.
No. Take your time.
What was Watership Down? We kind of talked about 1984. We'll probably come back to it a bit.
Yeah, we will.
Watership Down. What'd you guys think?
I definitely was not exactly the animation I expected, but I didn't realize it was from '78. I was placing it more in my mind mid '80s, so I was expecting mid '80s animation, and it was definitely very much like late '70s animation.
Yeah, very
so-
European too. maybe
Fun
like-
fact: Roger Ebert hated the movie. Thought that the animation was trash.
Oh, it's just
Wow.
stylized.
Dude, yeah, I know. I was just like, whoa.
So I mean, it's not the best animation.
No,
by
but
any
I'm
means, for
like
sure.
I'm definitely not putting it up against like a Disney movie. I imagine this is a fairly low budget,
Yeah, exactly.
British
exactly. Yeah.
movie.
I hadn't seen this film since I was 19, which puts it in plus 20 years. I saw the was it Netflix
Yeah.
series? Man, you're talking 78 to a few years ago. The Netflix series is superior production.
Yeah, yeah.
If
Well,
we're- if
also,
we're-
I mean, just simply for the fact that it's a series and they can spend more time
Yeah,
on things.
yeah.
Because, like,
There are
it's a
definite
stupid thing to
moments
say
in this
because that's
movie
always true.
that
Yeah.
feel like they go, ooh, look at this thing. Moving on. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like
Well,
No,
yeah,
no,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
honestly, the series is literally the movie where they take a time out to actually explore.
Yeah.
the burrow that they come to, that's like they have a sinister feeling about. Like that whole sequence is
Yeah.
so much. There's so much better than
and
Netflix series.
the
Because there's more
the
time.
rabbits in the
Yeah.
cages where they're trying to rescue the rabbits in the cages, like just like there's so little in a like less than 2 hour movie. There's so little time spent on that. That's like a whole fucking episode.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. No, it's I enjoyed it for sure. I do like old animation, and I don't mind the animation at all. Really, it's just more stylized. There's a lot more. There's just less movement in the animation, and that's all. It's just a lot of, set backdrops that you animate on top of,
Yeah.
and like I wouldn't have assumed that it would have a big budget, and like if you don't have a big budget, that's what you're gonna do,
Yeah.
Like technically, as far as that go, like the technical things involved in it, I think the only thing that was really weak with it was maybe the sound. I feel like the sound could have been a lot better in a lot of places.
Yeah. Which
Um,
I feel like, again, comes down to like budget,
yeah. That's an
Probably
easy, I mean,
recorded at like a radio station or something.
yeah. No, they just like I don't know. I think that's an easier thing for them to fix because like they could just fucking, all right, this scene is them running through the woods. Like let's really just go out in the woods and fucking record something real quick and get a little bit more sound. But there's like in a lot of those scenes, I don't feel like you got enough rustle of branches
Yeah,
and leaves
yeah.
and shit like that. You have that on your own, Dustin.
Hmm?
There's another one down there. Yeah. But
I guess, I don't know. Man, being
I overall
that
enjoyed
harsh
it. I
against
thought,
the animation is very interesting.
I enjoyed it. It's very stylized. I dig the style of it.
like definitely knew, I think, some amount of their demographic for some of those scenes, how trippy and wild it gets. Like,
Yeah.
especially in that burrow, right? And then at the beginning with the origin story, it
Mhm.
gets like
It
very
gets pretty
psychedelic.
trippy. Yeah. Now once they so the setup, I think what's the sequence here? They leave the burrow because one rabbit, it's not Hazel. Hazel is John Hurt's character. Fiverr gets rabbit visions, and he's pretty convincing. If I was a rabbit in that burrow, I'd believe that motherfucker. Like he
Yeah.
is like losing his
Should run
mind
for office.
for real. Like he was.
We don't
he
have
was
enough
convincing.
politicians running on being they are very frightened. Like,
Yeah.
guys, you have to vote for me, hurry.
Yeah. So yeah, they leave the burrow, find what's right after them leaving? What do they find first? It's not the burrow that has sinister.
Don't they find
Mystery.
no, not the traps? That's later.
Because somebody dies right away.
Yeah.
I don't.
So somebody gets got by a hawk.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. They like
they're
clear
like-
a hedge line and then just like I think I just looked away for a second, looked back, and I see some
Yeah.
some fur floating. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
missed that one. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Swoop. But yeah, so I can't remember if something happens between them finding that burrow where they feel like something is not right because it's a burrow that's super empty and
I
this
think there's
rabbit's,
just a
like-
whole bunch of little
Little
real
stuff.
quick things.
But that rabbit was fucking weird.
Yeah,
that
those-
thing was nightmarish.
all of the rabbits in that.
Yeah.
I definitely can
That
like
motherfucker-
visualize the exact kind of like breed of rabbit they're depicting.
Dude, that
They
thing
make
like
look
it looked
so
like it fucking
creepy.
melted. You know,
Yeah.
it looked like it fucking melted. Like the eyes and its mannerisms were just super like haunting. Like,
Yeah,
it was fucking horrifying.
that and the like the elder like leader rabbits they
Yeah.
show a couple
Yeah,
different
yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Those ones are very creepy.
Yeah,
the
no,
way
they
they depict
do
them.
get some really good animation by the end of the movie. The last showdown, essentially, they did put some time into those fight scenes. You get some pretty fucking intense moments there.
Yeah,
The last thing they find, I can't remember how they find the big burrow. I guess maybe they just came across a rabbit talking about it.
yeah.
There's a burrow of rabbits.
They
that
find a
just
bunch
were,
of
like,
food, don't they?
the totalitarian rabbits that just kind of ran shit in that area that just
Yeah.
happened to be near where
Oh yeah. Like the
where they
enemy
were fighting.
burrow
Yeah, the enemy
that
burrow.
they have,
Yeah.
like go to war with.
But yeah, overall, I mean, the Netflix is definitely superior, but it's just budget and time and everything. But I do, if you want an old school animation, I think it's worth watching for sure.
Definitely.
It's some good.
I mean,
Some
it's
pretty
88
pretty
minutes.
solid.
You got time.
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid voice acting for what it was. It's hard to gauge that all the time, but yeah.
Yeah.
worthwhile.
This director, and I have not seen this movie, has another animated movie from 1982 called The Plague Dogs. And it's
Plague Dogs.
very similar to. It looks very similar, like in aesthetics to Watership
Right.
Down. I feel like I believe they're dogs that have been having tests done on them.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it feels
I'd
very
watch that
reminiscent. Yeah, I really want to watch it now.
for sure.
It looks really good. I just wanted to mention that.
Right on.
Any thoughts, Holler, about it overall? Just that. That
I think I've said them all. I thought that this was a fine triple feature,
Yeah.
and I think it's the best triple feature that we featured.
First one.
Yeah.
Or I guess no.
It's the second one. The other one was all trash.
Yeah.
Well, no, we did a Halloween one too, so it's the third. It's the,
Oh.
it's
Yeah,
the
the Halloween
triple
one
feature,
was
triple
fun.
feature.
Halloween
Yeah,
was good.
I forgot that was a triple. It was kind of a triple. Like we
The only
did we
theme there was Halloween. There was no other.
like the experience was over several like occasions, so it didn't feel as much like a triple
Yeah.
feature. So
The movies were definitely different in nature as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Next time we do a triple feature, we'll have to do them back to back to back.
Yeah.
Like actual
Yeah.
triple
Yeah.
feature. Because this one,
It's
we
it's
watched
hard.
Watership Down.
Our schedule works out better if we're gonna do a triple feature to do it the way we did it, which is one movie one day, two movies another
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Like it's probably gonna have to be that because John unfortunately is just not available many Saturdays,
John.
which is
Yeah.
the best
This
day
fucking
for us to
guy.
do that.
We'll drag a
Fucking
TV over
guy.
there and do a triple feature while you're tattooing
Yeah.
all day.
Right. Just fucking.
Get a mic out. The person you're tattooing could be our special guest. Wait, no, you've got work to do on Dustin,
Yeah,
right?
there you go.
Boom, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think that this movie's worth watching if you like older animation. I don't think it disappoints by any means. I mean, people now, I don't know. I hear that from like people that are anime fans that watch like Cowboy Bebop. They're like, that animation's trash. And I'm just like, the fuck?
Yeah,
Like, a lot of people get like super, I don't know, get caught in the times. Or like people that play video games. That,
yeah.
Like only play new stuff and they look at an old video game like, "God, I just can't play that because it just looks so bad." Like it's
Yeah.
about the experience of the art, not just the aesthetic.
Yeah, like
But
if you're walking
that's
into
me as an
a
artist,
movie
so-
from 1978 and expecting like
You gotta put the things
something
in.
on par animation
You gotta
quality
put
with
the
like
things
a
in
Pixar
context,
movie,
man.
you
You gotta
know?
put the things
Yeah.
in context. Historical, sociological context.
You know, yeah, like where
Art.
it's made, the studios, the budget. You know, there's like a movie from a couple years ago, 2016, I think it was, The Red Turtle. Have you
Right.
seen that?
No, I
It's
missed that
it's produced by Studio Ghibli, but it's not a Studio Ghibli movie.
Right.
It's a French animation.
Right.
That movie's fantastic.
Yeah.
But like, you know, if you go into it after watching whatever fucking new Pixar movie is,
Right.
you're gonna think the animation
one.
is
Oh yeah.
cheap as fuck
Yeah,
because
for
it's
sure.
nothing similar at all.
Mm-hmm. Now, art needs context on a lot of different levels. So
Yeah.
yeah, that movie's good. Watch it. It's the most hopeful of these three for sure. It's
Yes.
the most happy. Then yeah, back to 1984, which we touched on. Forewarning, there is no happy ending.
No.
There is no fucking even remote concept of a happy ending to this. It's just
Which just makes it feel all the more realistic.
yeah. No, it's rough. He does try to rebel. He tries to rebel and find love and find feeling again, and like push through his awful existence, and then it just doesn't work.
Yeah. They say no.
He gets
Yeah.
captured. He gets tortured. And then he gets plugged right back into the system he tried to resist, and he just has a kind of inkling feeling that maybe something happened, but he can't tell the difference because his history is whatever is told to him.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great performances.
Whole
though,
society.
for
Fantastic performances.
sure. Fantastic performance.
I think-
This one I think John Hurt shone through really well.
The opening sequence with the propaganda film
Yeah.
like instantly drew me in.
So one of my least favorite phrases, and it's a phrase that every American hears at least once a year, is the book was better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because it's just such a stupid
It is.
thing to
It
say. Because of course the book was better.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
Like,
not unlike
You know what
saying
nobody's ever said?
the 8
The
episode
film
Watership
adaptation
Down
was
better.
better. The
Right.
book was worse. Nobody's ever said those
Ever.
things
Yeah.
ever about anything. So obviously the book was better. So basically what you're telling me is that you really want me to know that you're an intelligent person because you read a book.
Yeah.
I watched the movie, but just so you know, I also read the book.
Yeah.
Ian,
No,
like-
honestly, if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, you know what? I really appreciate the way that you said that. Because you could have taken a shortcut and just said, the book was better.
Yeah.
And what you're really saying is, I read a book.
It's
Yeah.
like, hey, what'd you
Yeah.
think of that new movie?
Insert.
I mean, I just got to tell you, I did read the book.
Yeah.
That being said, the movie was fine.
Yeah. No, and I think honestly, we talked about it when we watched the movie. It's a short fucking book, so
Yeah.
it's a pretty easy thing to adapt to a movie. I thought that it was fine. It's been a long time, like I said earlier, since I've read it. The visuals and aesthetic.
The
different
book
than I
is
expected.
about the length of a. Honestly, it's about the length of a screenplay.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. So yeah, for me, I feel like book versus movie. I imagine the aesthetic different, but of course that's going to happen whenever you read any book.
Yeah.
But they did touch on everything that needed touched on. I actually felt like the minute of hate that was the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, because I don't think that was the opening. I don't think that was the opener of the book, and I feel like it probably should have been. I feel like a little bit of world building first, and then that scene
Yeah.
would have made a little bit more sense in my mind, to make that scene more impactful. Because like there's some parts of that scene, some of the people in the crowd felt a little like forced
Yeah.
and a little hammy, and like I think I wouldn't have felt that necessarily if I would have if you set the world up first to like illustrate why these people
I think
are this,
Yeah.
you know?
I think part of it is the kind of the overall theme, the Big Brother's watching propaganda
Right.
angle of the story. I feel like they did a better job of setting that up in the book.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
And like to
Yeah.
where in the movie you'd see like little like signs that say they're watching or
Right.
he's watching or whatever, and like it just wasn't like the book. It was like if you've ever read yeah, it's just like one of the like it has that recurring thing where like Big Brother's watching, like it's like a line that's in like
Yeah.
almost every paragraph of the book,
Right.
and like they didn't do a great job of like porting that over to the
What
I
film.
think they'd replaced it with just the screen, the
The
constant
picture.
like present
Yeah.
screen of
Well, and
literally.
so-
but
Big
that
Brother.
screen is also present in the movie,
Yeah. It's
and the screen is also just consistently saying Big Brother is like it's the whole theme.
Yeah.
Oh wait, are you saying the book didn't do it as good, or wait?
No, I'm saying the film, as far as the whole like Big Brother is watching theme of the story, the movie did not do a good job.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that so what they did is they just had the guy's face on screen. I don't remember if that was the case in the book. It was
He was
just there's
supposed
always
to be Big Brother.
yeah. Well, it's in the book. I remember the feeling that you get in the telling is that it's just the gravity and the psychology of that always being present.
Yeah.
Like knowing that every screen is always watching you. And just the constant pressure. You didn't get the same pressure. Honestly, I felt a little more.
The
in
book
watching
gave
the
me a
movie-
level of anxiety that the
Yeah,
film did not.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I watching the film, I felt like as I was watching, like, man, John Hurt does just this guy just kind of gets to do it every once. And you didn't get that vibe in the book. Like it was constant, like pressure and oppression, and like it felt heavy. The experience in the book felt heavy, and I didn't get that.
I guess
Out of-
I have not. I'm ashamed to say it's a short book. I have not read the book.
Yeah.
But I was getting more of feelings from John Hurt's character, especially in this, of like a numbness, like a
Yeah, no, that's
totally
yeah.
given in, like, well, this is the world I live in.
Yeah.
Like not even necessarily complicated feelings or
Right.
when he's like covering up the news and stuff.
Right.
Like this is just it. In fact,
Yeah.
I don't know. I was almost getting vibes like he doesn't even he can't even register that what he's doing with the other person is wrong, because then like
Right.
he'd have to confront those feelings that he's in danger or doing something wrong.
Yeah.
There's just like a numbness to his character.
Yeah, there was, and that's definitely present. That's true about. I mean, that's part of the story is beating people down so far that they are just numb.
And
But
I think the book goes a little more in detail on how much that actually outlines too, or it's just like it rained yesterday, and in the article that was printed in the paper the day before, they weren't calling for rain, so I have to go back and adjust to make sure that we were calling for rain because it did in fact rain, you know. And it's
Right.
like, and it was just like this whole like it's just like what
Yeah.
like
they covered. They had.
they did have the,
Yeah,
the scene
they
at the
had-
beginning, but I just again we're talking
felt
about an
they-
adaptation.
Yeah, I for me, I just felt like they could have spent a little bit more time on certain things, and I feel like
Yeah.
there could have been a little bit more like psychological pressure shown. Like,
And I get it's a movie they wanted to get to the meat,
yeah.
and
No, I mean overall, I think it's pretty satisfying from the book. But
it's actually one of the truer adaptations
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
yeah, I think so.
I,
It's
I would
definitely-
actually, and I wasn't expecting that. I was
Yeah.
expecting it to be like, because Fahrenheit 451, I've seen them adapt it like 5 different times, and it's always been bad.
Yeah, and that's honestly that's
Like-
why I never went ahead and pulled the trigger and watched the movies because I
I
expected.
think the
it to
Christian
be
Bale
just-
movie is the best adaptation, and it doesn't even claim to be
Yeah.
an adaptation of that film. It just
There's
is.
one from, was it like the 60s or 70s?
Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I've
That-
never seen that one.
I thought. I mean, I watched it when I was a kid, but I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. I don't think
Um,
I ever saw the original film.
Is this one it? Yeah, 1966.
Anybody notable?
Nobody. I mean, nobody I recognize in the cast. Julie Christie is the highest listed, but it's a French director. It's not a French film. Francis Truffaut, the director of 400 Blows. That's not the one we watched together.
Yep.
Jules and Jim, a few others, but yeah, I remember it being pretty good. But you know, it's
Yeah.
going to be a different vibe.
Yeah, oh, very.
I
very
gotta
good.
say that poster right away reminds me more of Fahrenheit 451 than anything
Yeah.
I've ever
That
seen.
poster's fucking sweet.
No,
Yeah,
that
it
poster
is.
is fucking
I might
dope.
have to buy that poster. I didn't
Yeah,
find
I kind of dig
That
that.
must be in my collection.
That
Um,
definitely goes well with the very iconic book cover of
Yeah,
Fahrenheit 451.
For sure. But yeah, 1984, definitely solid adaptation. It's hard to, you'll have to read the book and let me know your thoughts because like
Yeah,
it was good, but like again, to me, it just it wasn't fleshed out. I feel like they should have spent more time on setting up the world, and they wanted to get to just the action of the book, I guess, like Dustin said. But I think
If
it's
we want to
really-
be dicks, we can just say the obvious, which is the book is better.
yeah, it's just they really, for it being a short book, he did a really good job just establishing and immersing you in this world for as little time as he spent doing it in the book. And maybe that just happens more naturally in a book. I'm not sure, but yeah, it was good though. It was very good. Great performances for sure. Just to see John Hurt in any performance is awesome.
yeah.
Not the aesthetic
such
I
a
expected, but was
Fantastic
appropriate.
face. He has.
Yeah. So now it's worth watching. It's worth watching, and it's worth reading. And if for anybody that hasn't read the book, either of these books we keep talking about, you should read them both, and then maybe you'll understand.
They're very
the world
similar.
a little better.
1984 and Fahrenheit 451 are very similar books.
Yeah, they deal in specifics, but that's why I said, man, you put them together, and that's
Yes.
the world we live in right now. You put those two books together, and that's exactly the world, and it's fucking crazy. Because
Probably
these books
with
were
the-
written a long
Oh
time
my
ago.
god!
The
As soon as they
Handmaid's
do
Tale
Fahrenheit
to make it a
1984,
trilogy.
I'm in.
Yeah, that's hot.
Oh shit!
Oh shit.
Another reason I was going to watch this movie eventually, one way or another, this year, 1984, is because it is, like I've been saying a couple times, I am focusing on anniversaries,
And it is the.
and it did come out in 1984 as well, of course, being
Yeah.
called 1984. So it's the 40th anniversary this year. And then another reason it was very high on my watch list for a while now is it's I don't know how familiar you guys are with the cinematographer Roger Deakins, but he's probably he's definitely the best living cinematographer.
Right.
He's possibly just he's the best cinematographer of all time, and this is one of his earliest films he did. But he's also the cinematographer of Blade Runner 2049, Shawshank Redemption, 1917, No Country for Old Men, The Prisoners, Fargo, The Big Lebowski, Sicario, A Beautiful Mind, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, True Grit, The Village, The Assassination of Jesse James.
Cinematography in The Village.
So
is
he
like
likes to
the
work
best
with the
part of that
Coen
movie.
brothers.
He
We
works,
know that.
he works a ton with the Coen brothers. He works a ton with Sam Mendes, and he's been working a lot with Denis Villeneuve. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think it's always really cool when you see people collaborating over and over again. You can
for
tell,
sure.
Yeah.
oh, you guys obviously work very well together.
Yeah, I mean, let's just look at fucking Tarantino and
Yeah.
you know,
It's
Anderson.
Scorsese and De Niro, and then Scorsese and DiCaprio.
Oh yeah, these guys get their crews.
I feel bad for DPs because I think the DPs are the ones that do a lot of the work and don't get any of the love.
Mhm.
There's not really like an Oscar for the best director of photography,
Yeah.
and it's just kind of one of the most important things
Yeah,
about your movie.
No, that's pretty.
And like
shitty,
the fact
honestly.
that
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, he's one of the best directors of all time. It's just like, yeah, but you realize that he's not actually the guy behind the camera, right? Like that's another guy that doesn't get any kind of credit whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it'd be cool to do a little bit of a deep dive on some of the actual factual best DPs of all time.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, DP is it's director of photography, not double penetration. That's another podcast.
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, Roger Deakins. If you haven't seen literally any of the movies I just listed,
they're all fantastic.
they're all fantastic.
Except for The
Maybe
Village.
not Beautiful Mind. I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't seen that one actually.
It's fine.
It's like yeah, it's
Very
just-
early
it's-
2000s.
Is that who directed that? Is that like Ron Howard?
Ron Howard, yeah.
Ron Howard. Yeah, it's Ron Howard. Ron Howard likes to do this. He sees an actor. He's got a good script that he's had in his back pocket. He sees an actor get nominated for Best Actor, and he's like, you know what? I'm ready to make this movie now. I'm gonna get that guy,
Yeah,
and we'll just try to wrap it into another Oscar frenzy.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, Beautiful Mind won Best Picture, so I guess it worked.
it did. Like shortly after he had just won Best Picture for or just won. He just done Gladiator, which
Yeah.
had the whole
yeah.
Oscar.
I need to
party,
rewatch that movie. It's been a long time since.
Yeah,
I've
There's a
watched
sequel coming out, so
That was on our kind of short list of movies we need to
Yeah.
watch together.
it. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think these.
three great movies in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too. They're all definitely worth watching.
can we put a bow on these
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
and just say, fuck, John Hurts is the man. John Hurts the man, and this is not the Elephant Man. Is just like. I can't watch
yeah.
that and say that I watched a David Lynch movie.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if the only David Lynch movie you've seen is The Elephant Man, you haven't seen a David Lynch movie
Yeah, hell
quite
no.
yet.
No, not yet.
Not
Not yet.
You want each one to rank them, the three,
I could do that.
best to worst. Or
Okay.
best to less best.
Favorite to least favorite.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Favorite to least favorite.
This is tough for me. I'm actually just gonna do in the order that I like them because I think if I was doing, actually I'll do both. I think technically best, I would say 1984, The Elephant Man, Watership Down.
Yeah.
The ones that I actually liked, I'm gonna say The Elephant Man, 1984, Watership Down. I have the Watership Down last in both, and I'm the guy who probably shits on animation the most, so
Right.
it's
Yeah.
probably
I mean, and honestly, it
Pretty.
is, as this being a triple feature, like, it is a little, like, it's very thematically, conceptually, like,
oh yeah.
on point, but it is, like, as a film, definitely, like, kind of in deep waters, you know? Like,
Yeah.
That
These
it
other
doesn't-
movies are punching above its weight.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So, yeah, But for me, I'd say what I liked the most was probably I'd probably rank for just what I liked the most was, and again, for me, I'm a big stickler for concept. So I'd probably say 1984, Watership Down, and then The Elephant Man. As far as technicality, I'd say I don't know if I could draw the line between 84 and Elephant Man.
Yeah.
They're right there together to me, and then, Watership Down.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I would put Elephant Man top of my favorite of the three, with 84 and Watership Down being pretty neck and neck, but for very different reasons.
yeah.
But I would probably say, Elephant Man, Watership Down, or Elephant Man, 84, Watership Down. And then technically, I think I'd agree with you guys.
Yeah.
84 and Elephant Man are pretty neck and neck as far as their
Yeah.
quality in filmmaking, and then Watership Down, but not for anything against
Yeah,
it. I
it's
think
just
it
it's a different
not as good
animal.
of a movie.
I
It's a different
I will
animal.
say this. They were neck and neck.
Some apples,
I will say that Elephant Man is my favorite of the trio, with 1984 a close second. But I would also say that I'm probably more likely to watch 1984. I'm more likely to give that a second watch first above the Elephant Man,
Yeah.
just because I just have a hard time revisiting David Lynch movies in any kind of a timely fashion. Like,
I mean, I would say the same. Of the three, if I had to put money on which one I'd watch again next, it would probably be 84.
I feel like there's the most that I can get out of that one by a rewatch.
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
like I feel like that was a pretty tightly wound film, and there's probably some things in there that I miss, and not to mention the fact that it was super late on a weeknight.
Yeah, for sure,
so-
for sure.
Yeah.
All
Three
right.
great movies.
Yeah, watch them.
Yeah, good picks, Reese. Good picks.
Thank you.
And I like the theme. I like anytime you get like you give me three movies and then give me a reason they belong together. I dig that.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Do we want films in theaters?
Films in theaters, and then John, I think it's your turn, right?
It is.
I was gonna ask. Did the pausing the rotation and doing that remake double feature is out there? If you
Yeah.
something you
Yeah,
wanna
I
do.
think what's going to happen instead is we're just going to do a impromptu episode that nobody's expecting, where we just fit those in somehow.
Yeah. Okay, so coming to theaters, or what's been in theaters? We have Bob Marley, One Love, Ordinary Angels.
It's also streaming somewhere.
Cabrini, Imaginary, Arthur the King, not Arthur the dog. He is a dog, but yeah. Arthur
The trailer
dog
for
is
that movie
almost a
looks
better
fucking stupid too,
It's
man.
so bad.
It's just like it's bad when you're watching a trailer and you're like, how do you know? You know, it's like these guys are. I don't remember what it is. They're in some kind of
It's some kind of like
a 1,000,000-mile march or something.
yeah, some
They're in
sporty
some kind
shit.
of athletic thing where they have to travel.
triathlon type of thing.
It's a triathlon type of deal.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, here's this dog that we saw 300 miles back there. How did it get so far ahead of us? Yeah, that's a good question. Also, it just looks like a mangy dog. How do you know that it's not just another mangy dog? You know, it's just like they're so sure. It's like, oh, this dog is like fucking brilliant
Yeah.
because we saw him 300 miles ago, and somehow he's been following us and even ended up ahead of us. And it's just like,
You could just as easily say, "Wow, the dog we saw earlier, he's got a brother."
yeah.
Well, also, it's a dog.
It's a fucking dog.
Like, it could follow you because it's a dog. It can smell
I'll
really
say
well,
this.
and it also doesn't have to stick to a road.
It's a Benji movie, is what
Yeah,
it is. It's a Benji.
I'll say if you are curious about what happens in the movie, just watch the trailer. It shows you everything.
Yeah. The dog
You
got
gotta
ahead.
love that.
Oh my
You
God.
gotta love that. I'll never forget the first time I was in a theater, and it was there was a movie. It was The Wedding something. The Wedding,
Singer?
not The Wedding Singer. It was with I think it was Matthew McConaughey. And
Wedding Planner.
The Wedding Planner.
Jennifer
yes.
Lopez.
Yes, I'll never forget the first time I was in a theater and I saw the trailer for The Wedding Planner, and like go back and watch like the trailer for that movie, and it's just like, okay, well, like we saw the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like it's the like you saw every bit of the rom-com where it's just like boy meets girl, girl doesn't like boy, boy turns girl into a boy like her.
Yeah.
Boy does something to upset girl.
Yeah.
Girl gets pissed. Now things are looking down. Boy does something extravagant to win her back. Literally every fucking one of these things happens in the trailer. I'm just like, why would I go see this movie? I mean, you just showed me everything that I needed to know.
You think we'll get a wedding cinematic universe where the wedding planner hires the wedding singer?
Oh, God, I
They're
hope
both
not. I hope
planning my big fat Greek wedding for.
Oh, let's just not do that.
Some more.
The Wedding Singer is actually, I'll give it props. That's actually a fun movie.
I haven't seen it. So.
The Adam Sandler Wedding Singer is just kind of like you can tell it's like Adam Sandler's own homage to the decade that he grew up in,
Right.
which is the 80s, and
Yeah.
it's actually kind of a fun movie, and it's totally like a Happy Madison production, but it's not as he only plays one character. He doesn't play his sister and his brother. Or
Doesn't
whatever.
have some goofy handicap
Yeah.
and/or
Yeah.
quirk.
Yeah, he doesn't talk like he was kicked in the brain by a mule when he was 4 years old. I mean, he talks like a normal person.
Some more quality things playing Kung Fu Panda 4. I don't think any of us have seen it, so
Yeah.
can't really
I haven't
speak.
yet. I was gonna see it, but then I saw that there was a Ghostbusters movie,
Yeah.
and so I did
Caught
that.
up with that instead.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So there were 3 Pixar films that got released straight to Disney Plus during the pandemic. None of them went to theaters. There was Soul, Luca, and Turning Red. And Disney is now re-releasing them in theaters since they never
Okay.
went to theaters. Luca is the first one playing. It's a good movie. Of the 3, Turning Red is definitely my favorite, and
Yeah.
I'm actually hoping to see
So
Turning
it's
Red.
about a giant panda or like red panda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really,
I haven't
really
seen
beautiful
any of these
movie.
movies, but
I hope it comes back to Warsaw. I might catch Luca, if I have the time. But
I haven't seen it. My wife tells me it's good and that I should.
yeah, it's like the Disney Pixar version of Call Me by Your Name. If either of you have seen that, not in like a overt way or anything.
Right,
it's just
right.
it's like very similar. It's very romantic and,
Yeah.
and I don't know. They're both great movies.
What was the animated film with the Hispanic kid that kind of had a Day of
Coco?
the Dead? Yeah, Coco.
Coco. That was a great film.
Yeah, that was a very good film.
Yeah.
I think that's like the best animated film I've seen that's come out in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
When I watched that down at the park because they fucking haul the thing out and like do a park showing of a movie.
Mhm.
That was when I watched Coco, and like at the very end of it, man, like I had to fucking stand up and take a little lap around the park,
Yeah.
I got really pissed.
I'm not crying.
I saw it in the theater and like I get really pissed because they have this like there's a short at the beginning, and I say short. It's like it's like a 30-minute.
The fucking Frozen short
It's
film.
so fucking
Gross.
bad.
Ugh.
Like we were in the theater, like everybody, like we're in the theater, and everybody's on their phones. Like, what the fuck? Did I walk into the wrong theater?
Yeah.
because
It's not like a 5-minute short. It's literally like
Yeah.
30 minutes long.
yeah, and it's
It's
just
insane.
and I'll never forget. I was on my phone looking like what's up with the is there a really long short at the beginning of this movie? And it's just like, and the first thing I came to was like Reddit, and there was some mom, this Hispanic mom, that was like, of course, fucking like what is it? What's the production company like?
Pixar, Disney
Pixar, yeah,
Pixar.
Pixar. Like, you can't just let me take my kid to a movie to learn about her culture
Yeah.
without giving me a bunch of bullshit white people crap. like you
The
gotta give me like
whitest white
you gotta
people,
shove 40 minutes of
Scandinavians.
white
Yeah.
people bullshit before I
Yeah.
teach them about brown culture.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? I feel for you, lady, because I'm sitting here in the theater like pissed off.
Yeah.
for sure.
I say if you like Coco, Turning Red is very similar as far as like cultural depictions and stuff, but it's Chinese.
my wife
instead of-
Right.
would be glad to hear you say
Yes.
that because she's been trying to get me to watch that film.
I mean, now it's more of a mother-daughter story, so I don't know if that's
Yeah.
going to affect you or anything. And the animation is a different style. It's going for obviously a more
Right.
Chinese, Asian-inspired style.
Okay.
But
Right.
they're both Disney Pixar, and they're both
Yeah.
beautiful stories about not white cultures.
Yeah.
So hopefully Turning Red will come to Warsaw. I don't know yet. Then, of course, we've got Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire.
Frozen Empire.
Yeah. One
Immaculate.
approval.
I highly recommend Immaculate.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff.
And then the new movie coming out this week is Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. So it's very odd that we have two Empire movies in theaters right now.
I saw the trailer or bits of the trailer the other day, and it's like exactly what I thought. Because since the first Godzilla reboot, it's gotten like campier and dorkier each time, and I think it's now leaning fully into like full camp dork mode.
Yeah,
because there's like a baby Kong.
Yeah,
and like I know what it's.
I thought Godzilla -1 was fantastic.
Oh, yeah, it's a different. That's a whole other thing. This is off.
It's not
of
the same at all, you idiot.
This is the, and it started out really strong, and I think it'll be fine. But it's just like now I think by now it's full popcorn mode.
Each movie you've had to let go a little bit of how much you liked Godzilla 2014 because each movie has kind of.
No, I think the first
less
two.
And less strive for that level.
Yes, the first two I think were solid. The first one the most solid. Godzilla vs. Kong was fine, but it's like, okay, this has gotten a lot campier, but it's entertaining enough. And I feel like this one's just going to be like super dorky. I'll watch it whenever I can.
It's Godzilla. It's still Godzilla to me, so I think it's still going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It really just needs to be fun.
It'll just be fun.
But
it'll just be fun.
Yeah,
and that's maybe too much fun for me.
The trajectory of this foray into Godzilla definitely indicates it's not going to be great. So I'm hoping. Definitely. I'm hoping I have.
What's it called again?
Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. I think when I saw Ghostbusters, and I guess the biggest takeaway is that this isn't a versus movie. It's a team up.
Yeah, this is team up against another Kong.
I think, right? Yeah. This is like a collaborative effort.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I dig that concept of them working together to a degree, but I still can't get past the size differential. Like, call me an asshole, but I can't do it, and the main reason I can't do it because if they didn't fuck up the size differential, I think it would be so much more interesting.
What's your issue with the size?
Godzilla is way the fuck bigger than
originally. King Kong is like 50 feet tall.
He is. Godzilla's a skyscraper.
And Godzilla has always been.
I remember in the what was the Kong movie they did with like Jack Black.
Yeah, that was just a straight remake.
Yeah,
of the original
one. And he's like ripping the mouths off dinosaurs and shit in that movie.
Yeah,
but even in that
Godzilla's
one,
not a
like
dinosaur.
50, 60, 70 feet tall.
Yeah,
right?
but I mean like he's going up against T-Rexes and he's literally like prying their jaws in half.
Yeah,
you know, like,
he can do that. He's strong, but that's the thing. Like that's a T-Rex. Godzilla.
But I mean, like they're also very like kind of small.
Yes. T-Rexes are not that
very big in this movie.
And then with Kong Skull Island, they shot him up to the same height as Godzilla, just so he could then fight Godzilla. And it's like,
and see, that's the thing that
creature.
They still could have done it, and I think it would have been more interesting because it would have changed the dynamic. Like now, Kong has to like use his ape-like abilities to his advantage to fight this giant thing, and then if they team up,
if Godzilla had ape-like abilities, he'd be untouchable, right?
Yeah. But so if they did team up, then it'd still be cool because now fucking Kong is riding Godzilla into battle, and that would be fucking sweet.
Well, yeah, I think
would be so down for that.
I hope how they turn it around in this one is that Kong needs to fight the new ape, and he needs Godzilla's help because there's no world in which I'll believe. Well, Godzilla needs to team up with Kong because he needs Kong's help.
It's God fucking Zilla. Yeah. Dude. Like, no. Like, that's the thing.
The
like
times when Godzilla is the best, I'm never, like, there's no, like, level of me, like, who's Godzilla gonna make it out? Like, that's not what Godzilla is.
No, exactly. That's
unstoppable.
The 2-part anime on Netflix that I'd seen where it's like, aliens come to Earth and we just bail on Earth because it's just so fucked because nothing can stop Godzilla.
Yeah.
And then like they come back and think that like everything's okay, but oh no, Godzilla has now morphed the entire fucking genetics of the planet.
Yeah.
That's Godzilla. And then they fight one. They think they got there. And it's like, oh no, that was like a baby Godzilla. Here's Godzilla standing up out of this mountain and swoops his tail and you're all fucking dead. Like, yeah, that's Godzilla. Yeah. But no, it'll be entertaining. It'll be fun.
That's all I really need. I got -1. You know, I'm
yeah.
set.
You got
on
a good
good
one. You got
Godzilla's
the
movies.
good Godzilla movies.
It can't like breathe the same air as -1.
Yeah.
So it's like I shouldn't walk into it with those.
No,
kind of
it's
expectations.
popcorn. It's full popcorn.
Yeah.
So all right.
Okay.
Before we get to, I know John wants to give us the
pick.
what we're doing the next one.
The pick.
I just realized when I was doing the "What have we been watching" segment, I skipped over one pretty quickly. I watched Memories of Murder,
Ooh.
which is the Bong Joon-ho film, which you know him from like basically all the great Korean films. I watched this with Molly. I got her to watch Parasite. It was the first Korean film she'd ever seen, and she really enjoyed it. So I have been wanting to see it. This was like kind of number one on my watch list for a while. So we watched it together. Really, really good flick. It's I don't generally love these like kind of like true crime murder mystery kind of films.
Yeah.
This was kind of interesting though. This film was made in 2003, and first off, if you've never seen a Bong Joon-ho movie, like go see all of them immediately.
Yeah.
You can't like you Bong Joon-ho will teach you that you can't learn to expect from something from a director because like
Yeah.
his movies are so wildly different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this film it's kind of a murder mystery, but it's based on a true story.
Mhm.
And so the movie was made in 2003. And so you're watching this, and the whole time it's very like it's actually one of my favorite genre. It's actually probably my favorite genre is mystery.
I think thriller,
love the mystery
like,
genre.
a good thriller is like peak cinema
Because
and
I
it's
think
so rare.
if I said like name your top 15 mystery films, you probably can't because there aren't that many. It's just such a undiscovered territory, and when you do a really good mystery, it's really good. And so what I found interesting about this is Molly, after watching the film, she kind of looked up some of the historical parts of this because this was based on a true story.
Right.
And the fucked up thing is they made this movie in 2003, and spoiler alert, you get to the end and they don't actually find the killer because they didn't actually find the killer. But they found the killer in 2019.
Wow.
So it's kind of funny because you're watching this movie, and the movie was made in 2003, and it's about a murder that was never solved.
Right.
And then
Now so
16 years later,
Yeah.
after they make the movie, they actually solved the murder and found the dude that did all the killing. So it's actually really interesting.
yeah, no, I haven't watched that one yet. It's definitely high on my
and
list.
it's got the dude, I can't remember his name, but he's in like every
All of
fucking
them?
Bong
Old
Joon-ho.
boy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
The
that
dude
Yeah.
is like
Fucking
I mean, he's in
fantastic.
Parasite.
yeah. He's
That guy
he's the
is-
dude that smells
he's
like
fantastic.
old radishes.
so
and-
fucking
yeah.
good, dude.
Yeah, no,
Oh
he's
my God,
very good.
He's so good.
I really like the dynamic in this film. He plays like the detective that's very much like in the like the whole instincts thing. Like, oh, I'm
Right.
going off my own
Yeah.
instincts. And then there's this like kind of out of town guy who's like a specialist who comes in who's
Right.
very like
Technical and
yeah,
shit,
very technical and by the book, and like just watching the way they like
Right.
bounce off each other, and then like they eventually kind of become friends
It
and accept each other's way of doing things. Is like the way we do things works better as a team, kind of.
Right, yeah.
You know, like it's got a fun thing with it like that.
yeah, it's great fucking films. Did you ever see Chaser? I'm pretty sure he plays
I have not seen
in
that
Chaser.
one. Is this also a Bong
Think
Joon?
So I know it's that actor.
Okay,
I know it's the
okay.
actor. I'm not sure how to.
But anyway,
Sure.
I just thought that was interesting. That
Yeah.
like we watched the film, and then like she did a little and like oh, they literally just caught the guy like fucking 5
Yeah.
years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you've ever seen David Fincher's Zodiac,
I have not, but it's
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it's wildly similar to Memories of Murder,
Mm.
even up to the stuff of
okay.
the movie ends and they don't discover who the Zodiac killer is.
But yeah, if you like,
Yeah.
obviously, if you don't like David Fincher, watch his movies.
Yeah, I love David
But yeah,
Fincher.
if you like-
It's been on my list forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's on my
Honestly,
it's on my radar.
it might be my favorite David Fincher movie. I think it's
really?
really
Okay.
fantastic. Another Jake Gyllenhaal movie.
Yeah.
And I think like he most definitely owes a lot to Memories of Murder because there's a
Yeah.
lot of parallels there, and they're both
Yeah,
different in their own
and
right.
I'm gonna
Fantastic.
do a spoiler thing just because I hate doing spoilers like this, but like I really fucking love the ending
Mhm.
to Memories of Murder, which is like the dude. It's like 20 some years later or something like that, and he goes back to the scene where they found the first body, and it's like in like a little like gutter like tunnel, and he's like looking in this. And so, like 20 years later, he's looking in the same tunnel he was looking in 20 years previously. And this like little girl comes up to him and is like, "What are you looking for, mister?" And he's like, "Oh, I remember, I'm just looking for something from back in the day," kind of a thing. And she's like, "Oh, well, that's weird. There was this dude that was here a couple years ago that said that he remembers doing something here." And she's
Yeah.
gonna, and so like, this chick basically this little girl is basically like describing an encounter she had with him, and he's just asking all these questions like, well, what did he look like, and like all this, and it's just like it's been 20 years, and it's like
Yeah.
like literally it's the fact that like this guy's not even like a detective anymore. It's just like it's this thing that's burned into his mind. It's the one he never solved,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like he goes back to the scene, and there's this little girl. It's like, oh well, the killer visited here once upon a time, and he's like, oh fuck, like what did he look like? You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know. I just thought it was really cool the way he
Yeah.
did the ending.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So now John Brown.
All right. So I had
It's on you.
had a couple things in mind. I was thinking about a double feature, but there's been a longer movie that's been on my list for a while, and I think with the stuff we've done lately, I think it's a good departure from what we've been doing. And it's a fucking favorite film of mine, and it's fucking fun. And that film is Starship fucking Troopers.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's time. I think it's time to,
Is that a
to
long
pull the
movie?
Band-Aid. Yeah, I think so. I think it's a fucking almost 3-hour movie.
Is it?
I thought so. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't remember
Feels
that being
long.
a long movie. Could be.
2 hours 9 minutes.
Oh, 2-hour movie? Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Starship Troopers, 2-hour movie.
Starship Troopers. All right.
Yeah. If you wanted
Might
to
be a
force-
double feature. Might
wanted to
not.
force
We'll
double
see.
feature, I got plenty I could think of. But
Yeah.
I've been
So Starship Troopers Plus.
yeah.
Starship Troopers is not currently streaming anywhere, but it's available to purchase in all the normal places.
I think the movie just feels long. There's a lot packed into that movie. There's
Yeah.
a shit ton. There's a lot going on. They go through it, and the pacing is really good.
Honestly, not a bad double feature with 1984.
right.
We could watch Starship Troopers 2 or whatever the.
Well, actually, there is an animated movie that actually is good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was on Netflix a couple years ago. It was an anime,
I've not seen
and it had all the
Wish I had
same cast as
Wow.
voice actors.
Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that. Let's
Yeah.
do that as the double feature. I can't imagine it's probably
No,
shorter.
it's probably like an hour and a half. I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, you guys good with that?
I'm down for that. Yeah.
Sure.
Starship
Figure
Trooper it
out what
up.
it's called.
I only watched that one once, but it felt
So
felt good.
Not that
coming up, episode 25 feels like a milestone.
Be that
Killing
25.
fucking bugs. Yeah.
Starship Troopers, Traders of Mars.
All right, so we'll be watching Starship Troopers
It's
and
only 87 minutes
Starship
long.
Troopers, Traders of Mars. Probably.
All kinds of bug killing is gonna happen.
Hell yeah.
All right,
All right. Thanks for
that
tuning
sounds like a
in.
plan for the next episode. And everyone else can fuck off now because we're done.
Peace.
Bye.